Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 2Fools podcast for the games of the decade. We're going to be talking about the best games in the past 10 years from 2010 to 2020. We got a big list of, I believe, 48 games that we're going to strike down until we reach 10 games. And when we reach those 10 games, we'll rank them from 10th to 1st. I'm joined here by my two buds here. We got Bryan.
Hello.
And we got my bud Ian.
I just found my D&D dice that I've been missing for like months.
See?
Oh, hell yeah.
Now you can play some proper D&D. Very nice.
All right. So one.
Oh, and my name is Ryan. I forgot to introduce myself. My apologies. Go ahead.
But one disclaimer we should get out of the way. This is an opinion piece. We are only 3-man.
Yes.
We did not play every game that came out in the past decade, and there may have been some games that we forgot, but you should take that anger and rage that we did not include Frogger 3D, and you should channel that into the comment section where you can open a discussion about what games of the decade were for you and what games that you played. You can harness that energy and you can piggyback it into
it is it's a very personalized list, I would say.
Very
like there's some games in here that would probably make a lot of other people's games of the decades list probably, but for our own personal experience, we'll talk about them and then say their impact, but they probably won't actually make it, is what we're trying to say.
Absolutely. And I think I'm gonna start it off. You know what? I'm gonna read all these fucking games for the benefit of the people at home who can't see this.
Oh, you're just gonna read them all?
Yeah, might as well.
All right.
And I think I'll just start here. Doom 2016, XCOM Enemy Unknown, Binding of Isaac, Saints Row the Third, Spec Ops The Line, Cuphead, Yakuza 0, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, Enter the Gungeon, Far Cry 3, Dark Souls, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, Red Dead Redemption 2, Resident Evil 2 Remake, Mass Effect. It's written as 2/3, but I'm assuming that is both 2 and 3.
Yeah, it's
no. It was the PSP port.
Oh.
Between 2 and 3.
Yeah, Mass Effect Portal. Ori and the Blind Forest, and Ori and the Will of the Wisp. Limbo and Inside. God of War, Bloodborne, Gone Home, PT, League of Legends, Minecraft, Mortal Kombat 9, X, and 11, The Last of Us. We got the Battle Royale section here with Fortnite, Call of Duty Warzone, PUBG, and Apex Legends. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Hades, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Hotline Miami, Walking Dead Season 1, Overwatch, Uncharted 4, Tetris Effect, Amnesia The Dark Descent, Halo Reach, Spider-Man, Grand Theft Auto 5, Fallout New Vegas, Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn, Super Meat Boy, Borderlands? I wrote that.
With the question point.
Ghosts of Tsushima, and finally, Sekiro. Unless we have any other games.
Oh my god, this is gonna take forever.
Yeah, it's gonna take a hot minute.
This is gonna take forever.
Unless we got any other games that we can add to this list, I can start her off.
Because there's a lot of criteria we can judge these games by. Of there are games on this list that didn't really do anything new, really per se.
Oh yeah,
they push the envelope somewhere, right? Because the tech that is involved in Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, that is really it's revolutionary, and it's innovative and it's new, and the way they portray mental health is something that not a lot of bigger games are doing, trying to incorporate that in a constructive way, not tropey, not she's psychotic, so she's just going to have a freak out where there's a QuickTime event every now and again. No, they're incorporating that into the character, into the story, they're merging story and gameplay, not separating them, and that's super different than what other people are doing. Just an example of like, we can want a game to succeed, go further through the list. Like, in the same vein, Spec Ops: The Line, the gameplay is not anything new, but other stuff that the game was doing is worth that consideration.
Yeah, I think Spec Ops: The Line is at least considered on this list because of what it tried to do was novel. But we'll get to that. I'm going to start us off. I think
there are games on this list that are not trying to be novel.
Yes,
so it's like there are novelties for something is what I'm trying to say. Anyway,
absolutely. Okay, so I think the first game that's going to go is Borderlands, and I will. So I think Borderlands is it's a troubled franchise. The writing has been spotty, I think. But what it's trying to do with the whole loot aspect, a bajillion different guns and whatnot, I think that's novel because not really anyone has tried to do anything like that. And Borderlands 2 was an attempt to make the capitalization of Borderlands 1 better, and I think it kind of fails in some regards. Pre-sequel improves upon it by adding the grinder, which if you get legendaries that are no longer useful to you, you can at the very least attempt to get something a little more useful. So Borderlands 3 I haven't played a whole lot of, but like the loot drops there are way better. Like you are no longer grinding for 50 hours at a time on one boss to get a very specific drop.
Good.
Like, yeah, that's exactly what we need.
Yeah. I've played Borderlands 1 and 2. I own Borderlands 3. I just haven't played it. I bought it like used at like GameStop one day. I just never haven't put it in yet.
It's I would recommend 1. I would skip 2, to be honest. I think Handsome Jack is alright.
I remember 2 being really funny, but that was like,
it's hit and miss for me.
Yeah. But I mean, it does have a lot of potty humor. I guess it depends on your humor.
Is the third act switch of Jack as it becomes a serious villain in the last act of the game that I thought I really, really enjoyed. That it's like,
I mean, that last boss fight was way better than the Borderlands 1 boss fight at the end.
Yes. God. Shoot at this blob until it dies, please. That's your final boss.
But that's the joke. And all we found was tentacles and disappointment.
Yeah, man, I don't know how the fuck they did it. How Brick is like the only... Okay, Krieg is alright too. But like Brick from 1, there has never been a better playable character than Brick. I can just punch everybody. Why is it so hard to make a character that feels that good?
But how much of that is the characterization he receives in 2? Like, making us look back a little bit more fondly from his character in 1. Because the characters in 1, they don't have those barks in response to the story that they do in 2 pre-sequel and 3. They basically, like, they only say stuff, like, when stuff happens. They're not commenting in conversations. Like,
well, there's also the characterization of them being NPCs, which gives them a different angles, and most of the time it's not for the better. Anyway, I think we should cut this close now.
Borderlands is good. It's worth experiencing. It's worth playing.
Yes.
For the gunplay, the loot, and the story. Not to say the story's good. The story is worth experiencing.
Yes.
Maybe I'm talking specifically about 3, bearing the lead on that one. But I don't think it's... I think the first one was important in the way it influenced these looter shooters going forward. But
I would posit that the first Borderlands game is the most important in the franchise because it does the most.
Yeah, but then after that,
kind of a downhill slope. I think 3 might be better than the other games, but I haven't played enough to know for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. So, who's going next?
Go for it, Brian.
Okay. So, a game that I want to strike from this list.
Yes.
is The Walking Dead season 1. And
Oof.
the reason I want to strike it from the list
Okay.
is because The Walking Dead is a Telltale game.
Yes.
I think The Walking Dead season 1 on the list is just a reason to talk about Telltale and what happened there, and which is to talk about, we have one hit where we just need to do a ton of this.
Oh,
And
it's true.
There's lots of docs out there about what went wrong with Telltale, and like the reason the games they had put out up to that point was like The Walking Dead. The game The Walking Dead is stuff they had done before, right? They did a Batman one. They did a fucking Jurassic Park Telltale game, and it's that same bread and butter. The Walking Dead season 1 was just a game that was acceptable. The writing in The Walking Dead season 1, superb, with a franchise and a universe and media that everyone was, a buzz of at the time, because the Walking Dead season 1 was, a hit to say the least. So it's like, but after that, right? After season 2, season 3, and they just started doing all of it.
All the same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
I will.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. That's kind of a BioWare RPG, isn't it? Like, there's aspects of that that's like a BioWare RPG, like Dragon Age.
I'm not sure. I only played the first episode of
like there's some
of the Game of Thrones.
I remember some Inquisition style combat specifically, but it's interesting that they went in that direction.
That'd be such a tonal whiplash. It would be like imagine Walking Dead season 1, and then like the camera goes up and above Lee like it's a fucking Moose Out game.
You're obliterating all the different houses. Yeah.
I was thinking about rebuttaling, but kind of like what you were saying, it is kind of true, because Walking Dead season 1 came out in 2012, which for me personally was kind of more of like a very important year in gaming for me, because that was also the year Mass Effect 3 came out, and those are the types of games, this game and that game, because previously I just played video games just to fucking like shoot the shit out of people, pretty much. Like I never really played narratively driven games. Like, I mean, for an example, this is just how my mind worked back in this day. I fucking played like Bioshock for the first time in I think 9th grade, and like I played it because it had guns and you shot shit out of your fucking fingertips, and I thought that was cool.
When I played Bioshock when I was younger, there was no fucking way in hell I was engaging with the higher level shit.
Me neither.
Absolutely
like
chance.
The freaking would you kindly like twist at the end and stuff? Like I was like, what? Like I didn't even get it. I didn't even care.
Okay. Quick temporary segue. So Nakey Jakey talks about this thing called Goopy Goblin Gamer Brain, where whenever
that sounds like me, dude.
Yeah. Like whenever a game is trying to do something serious and something that's not gameplay, and it's Mary Jane and you're not fucking Spider-Man.
That is literally the first thing I thought of.
There is a part of your brain that's just like, all right, cool. I don't care. Let me put my hands back up so I can keep shooting lightning bolts at people.
Yeah, exactly.
And like when I was younger, playing games like Bioshock, or even some of the more important stuff from like Mass Effect 1.
Yeah.
Or some of the higher themes in like the original Dragon Age games, where I'm like, all right, cool. When can I skip this?
Yeah. Now, I'm going to interject real quick.
As an adult, that stuff, you engage with that stuff, but you weren't going to do that when you were younger. So these games that you experienced in a really formative, really important, like younger part of your life, going back to them, it can be a really different experience.
Yes, and I'm going to say the only reason Bioshock is not on this list is because it came out in 2007.
Yes.
If we do another one of these lists for 2000 to 2010, it's going to be on that list for goddamn sure.
So most important formative games. I feel like Matt should be here for that conversation, but Can I put Bioshock Infinite on this list just so we can take it off?
Oh, absolutely.
Great.
Yes.
But what I was getting at,
Yes.
because I was gonna rebuttal you. So, because I was thinking about, because I played this game in 2012, like I said, because this game, Mass Effect 3, came out, and Mass Effect and this game I regard as like the games that like showed me like, whoa, like video games can be so much more than just like it's like all the stories and the interactions and shit. Like I remember the ending of this game, Walking Dead Season 1, was the first game I like teared up to. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, what's wrong with me?
Cried.
This has never happened to me.
The ending of Season 1 is heavy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna posit that Walking Dead Season 1 is the best Telltale game. And yes, you're right, Brian, that Telltale took that design doc and was like, let's just keep doing this over and over again.
Granted, I wouldn't say that those games are bad then, but it's just kind of like, I guess it just ran stale for a bit, because I didn't even finish Season 2. I think I got to episode 5 of Season 2, but I just never got back to it.
I finished Season 2. It's not that great. It's definitely not as good as Season 1.
And granted, I watched some videos on like the newer stuff, because I do want to see like where Clementine's story goes, so like it interests me, but I don't think I've ever want to play it again.
Yeah,
and the only other Telltale game I like absolutely love past Season 1 of The Walking Dead is The Wolf Among Us. That's
Wolf Among Us is great. I would also say, just to run it back, Tales of the Borderlands is also fantastic.
I've heard that's fantastic too. So those are like the three like trifectas when it comes to like Telltale games. Those are like the top three from like basically regarded by most people.
Tales of the Borderlands is better written than any of the Borderlands games. That's not a joke either. That is 100% true.
So yeah, just going back,
I was straight up ghost in Tales of the Borderlands.
Yeah, I was gonna rebuttal you because The Walking Dead Season 1 is like a very important game. Yeah. But with what you're with what you're saying, I would probably say agree with,
because it's like,
are we cutting it then?
Okay, I didn't really care about anything else with The Walking Dead after that. So I mean, I don't know. Like, it's an important game to me, but yeah, compared to, it's not like I don't think about this game every fucking day like I do Red Dead Redemption 2.
Like,
sure,
me, a lot of the conversation around The Walking Dead, the Telltale game, is a conversation about Telltale itself, involving Wolf Among Us, involving Game of Thrones, involving like other properties they made, of like how the company ended up going down. You pay out tons and tons of money to license these properties, and none of them do as well, so you just sink. That for me, that's a lot of the conversation around The Walking Dead. It's just a conversation about Telltale.
It is worth mentioning though that it did at least inspire creativity, and basically inspired creativity with tons of other games.
Because totally.
What's that one? Life is Strange. I never played it, but I heard people love that game so much.
Yeah.
So I feel like that game probably wouldn't exist without Walking Dead. But
absolutely not. Yeah.
Okay.
It's worth mentioning at least.
So you know what? I've come around on that. That the Walking Dead. Yes, a lot of the conversation is around Telltale, but you can also divorce it a bit because of people taking inspiration, or people liking, or what this game individually accomplished, that I think its relationship with Telltale doesn't necessarily.
I put a star next to it.
Okay.
We'll come back to it if we need to.
I will consider myself having been rebutted.
In that case, Brian, why don't you pick another game?
No. That was my game we had a conversation about.
Okay. That's fine. Ian, pick a game.
Fuck. Let's see. Which one shall get the axe?
You got 47 games to pick from.
I'll look around to see if there are any easy ones.
I'll swing for the fucking fences right now, and I don't want to get rid of it, but I don't think it's something that's gonna make it to the end.
Sure.
Sekiro. So we have other
monkey with sword.
Fuck that monkey, Christ! That monkey sucks. I've never played that game. That monkey sucks.
That is. I will say that was my like top gaming moment of 2019 was fighting the fucking Guardian Ape. I fucking love that fight.
It just looks like a nightmare.
the reason why I say this is because we do have other FromSoft games on the list. We do have Dark Souls. We have Bloodborne as well. And when I feel like you compare it to those two games, Dark Souls and Bloodborne, I don't think Sekiro holds a candle to it. Granted, I fucking love Sekiro. It was my game of the year for 2019, and even won game of the year at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
But
props to From for trying to make their games radically different, even if they're following their own style.
Can I sprinkle some context?
Insane. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the reason I put it on here was because of the way in 2019 Sekiro jumps out of the conversation about both accessibility in games and talking about difficulty in games
as part of its art, basically.
Yeah, like as part of the narrative of the game in real life, right? I think it was Danny O'Dwyer who said there were 3 camps when Sekiro came out. Was games should be more accessible, that like, you know, games should just be easier to play for more people. The camp on the other side that was, you know, the director, the intent of the game, the vision of the game is the paramount, and no outside tinkering should meddle with it. And there were people in the middle who said, man, I love Soulsborne games, but fuck me, this one's real hard. I wish I could just get one more revive, or I wish I could deal a little bit more damage because I only have 2 hours in a day to play, and I can't just grind against a boss for 20 hours to figure it out. Like, that's a lot of why I put Sekiro up here. Was the way when we were talking about Sekiro, we were talking about, should games be more accessible? You know, should games be easier? Like that. That's kind of a fucking like rug soaked in cat piss at this point. But the like, should games have an easy mode? That conversation. The way Sekiro, I don't want to say advanced the conversation, but made us keep talking about it in a way that a lot of other games didn't, and that we've been talking about it kind of since. And granted, accessibility in gaming is something that's been a really, really long conversation, and we've always been talking about it, but talking about it in main games, that's kind of why I wanted to put Sekiro, but also Monkey with Sword.
Monkey with Sword. The most important reason to consider Sekiro.
But failing in comparison to all of that. Monkeys with both swords and guns.
All right, Monkey with Guns was in Borderlands, I should mention. Yes.
I mean, like, the monkey in that one had a pompadour. That's
true. That was a sick pompadour. I think Sekiro is...
Borderlands 3 is a ride.
I think Sekiro is a very important game for the games that came out this decade. It's always interesting to see From Software mix it up while staying within their own genre, and I think it's cool how they managed to make it so different from Dark Souls, and then Bloodborne. How it's this like deflect it with your ninja sword. It's sick, honestly. Seeing it done right is super cool. So are we cutting it then?
That was my defense of it, but
I just think when looked at,
I agree with you on all of your points.
Yeah, I just think when looked at the rest of all the games, especially when games that have been around for, you know, a lot of these games that have been around for more than like 6 years. I mean, granted, like maybe Sekiro would be more in the discussion maybe 5 years down the line when we like, oh shit, it like influenced all these other games that came out, because, you know, it only came out last year. We could probably see games that come out like in 2 years that are like, all right, this is like a Sekiro clone, basically. Sure. But I think having released so late into the decade kind of works against it in order to make it to the list.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think we're cutting it.
Get out of here.
All right.
I love you, Sekiro. I'm sorry.
I believe it's my turn, and I'm gonna go with, it hurts, but I'm gonna go with Final Fantasy XIV and Realm Reborn. Okay, this is
gonna be all you.
This is all me. Yes.
Yeah.
This is a game with a long, storied history about how when it released, it was just a nightmare, and then Naoki Yoshida, also known as Yoshi P, who I'll be referring to as for this next bit, steps in and revives it. Basically just literally launches a red Mars planet onto the surface, obliterating it, and then they remake it into A Realm Reborn, and they ditched the old engine and made a new one. It's a world of difference. The game is playable.
Was it pretty much literally built from the ground up?
Yes, literally.
How long did that take?
I think they only had like a year and like a half to work with. They were really stressing, and all the while they had to update the base game just to satisfy those guys who had played that game.
Yeah,
and it's incredible. Like the difference between base and ARR are outstanding. And then, okay, so A Realm Reborn itself, the 2.0, is not great. However, 3.0, Heaven's Word, is the shit. It is the expansion to play. Literally, like, it's so good. It sets it up as like this like Game of Thrones wannabe, and then dishes it entirely. All the terrible plot points in A Realm Reborn, gone. The atmosphere in Heaven's Word is so good that you should play Heaven's Word. I'm just gonna say it. If you've heard anyone say anything good about Final Fantasy XIV, you should play Heaven's Word. That goes for anybody listening to this. And then the next expansion, Stormblood, comes out. Not great. Then Shadowbring comes out. That's great. Shadowbring is also pretty good. Not as good as Heaven's Word, but it's all right. Anyway, I'm going to cut it from this list. I spent 2 months in unemployment catching up. It's a big fucking ask. You could just play up to Heaven's Word and have a good experience. But it's gone from the list. And goodbye.
Cool.
Who's going to be next?
You're up, Brian.
Is that me? All right. All right. As I said, I was going to do it. I'm going to take Bioshock Infinite off the list.
Okay.
Oh.
That was my turn.
I'll say a small bit. Definitely not as good as.
Would you like to say a few words?
It was enjoyable. I liked it.
I think
the voice acting and acting is very good, but
there was a plasmid that made a horse noise.
That is true.
Don't forget, I'm just gonna write in not topist. I'm just gonna write the stuff that we are cutting, just to keep track.
Okay, keep track of the shit we cut. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that twist at the end. We can discuss spoilers. I feel like that's a good thing to do in this case. And I'm just gonna say it, like, the Rapture twist is really good. I feel like it's the one reason people played that game.
Spoiler warning for Bioshock Infinite, I guess.
Yes, if you haven't played it yet. Yeah, I think that's about all you could say about it.
All right. Oh fuck! It's already my turn. Damn.
I mean, I can talk more shit about Bioshock Infinite if you need.
No, I remember it releasing and you buying the little like the mid-tier collection one, and it came with the little figure, and you were like, I regret buying this.
Oh, that's right. It came with that, what is that dude called? I don't even remember. That's how.
I don't know.
Mr. Handy.
Mr. Handy. That's right.
They are called Mr. Handies.
I like that pistol. That pistol looked good. It was like a Luger. That was cool.
Yeah.
All right.
That pistol's in Red Dead 2.
Yeah, it is.
It's a Mauser. I don't remember what.
Red Dead 2 did it better. That's what I'm gonna say. And that's a third-person shooter. Go ahead, Ian.
I think I'll have to take out. This is kind of hard. I think we'll just cut this out right away.
Sure.
And we'll talk about it because it's definitely not. We'll talk about its influence and how much it's boomed, but it's definitely not any in our personal lists and what will make it. So I think we should talk about Fortnite.
Yeah, that's a fair cut.
So me personally, Fortnite, battle royales in general, they're a fun game mode. Like, I like to try most of them, and for the most part, most of them don't really stick with me. And Fortnite did for a bit, but for me, I fucking hate the building aspect of Fortnite. I despise it. It is the
worst part of that game.
Yep. It sucks because I've been seeing all the recent stuff they've been adding. They're adding fucking like a Marvel season, and like, oh shit, they're adding like Master Chief and Kratos into it now.
Yeah,
and like it's cool to see. And I was like, I wonder if like it'd be fun to try it out again. And then it was like the next day I saw a clip on Twitter. It was like a guy on a ridge, and he shot at one dude, and the dude instantly just started building a fortress around him.
Yeah,
and I was like, yep, that's all I needed to see to not play this fucking game again.
I think
because I hate the building aspect of it. It's
I think
so
the
goddamn
cultural
annoying.
impact is why this game is on this list.
Exactly, its cultural impact is immense. That's why like I put it on here so we could discuss it. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have anything further.
Back when I was working for retail, I definitely saw like at least I'd say 3 or 4 kids playing Fortnite on their phones. Like Fortnite is a cultural phenomenon. I don't especially love that game, but I think the impact of it is significant.
Yeah, and the work they do on it is insane. Like I remember when season 1 ended, where it was like I think it was called season 1, where basically the game was shut off for like 5 days, and you literally just couldn't fucking play it. Do you guys remember that?
I don't think I was there for that, but I could totally see that happening.
No, yeah. So how Fortnite has their events. They had the fucking Travis Scott fucking concert and the thing.
Concert, yeah.
Yeah, and so they have like all these events, but there was one particular event where I don't know exactly how it happens, but everyone on the map got like fucking like blown up into the air, and you could see like the entire map, and some sort of black hole opens up in the middle of the map, sucks the map in and all the players.
Oh,
and then it's just a black screen.
Right. Yes.
With like a little like I think a little like glowing star in the middle.
Right. Fortnite was like, fucking dead.
It was like dead for like 5 days. Like maybe like 3 or 4. I don't know if it was 5, but it was like, what the fuck? Like, and no one could play anything. You would log in, it would just be that screen. And so it was like it took over the fucking internet. It was insane.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is really cool.
That was crazy.
I appreciate and love looking at all like the shit that Fortnite does for its community. Yep. It's really cool. Like, granted, I'll never fucking be a part of it because I don't like playing that game. But like, I admire it from afar, and like, it's fucking sick. That's all I really got to say about that. But in our own, yes, if we were talking more about, if we're thinking about this list in a more like subjective manner that could apply to everyone, so to speak, but this is more of our own personal list. It's not going to make it.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think this list is about our combined views and the top 10 of it. I don't think Fortnite really makes it. Goodbye, Fortnite.
Anything to say, Brian?
I thought it was weird that they announced Palpatine had returned in Fortnite.
Oh, that's fucking right. Oh, and the Epic versus Apple court case. Oh, please vote for us. Yeah, I think we've said our piece on the whole thing.
I think Fortnite is massive and weird, and I don't want to understand it.
That's a fair opinion. All right, I think it comes back to me.
On my tiny brain.
Yeah.
Oh boy. How about, I think I'm gonna cut Overwatch.
Ooh.
And yeah, I think it's Overwatch because, man, that game was great for a good long time.
At launch, that game was wild.
Yeah,
it won game of the year. Like, an only online game winning game of the year is pretty wild at that time.
Totally. We definitely all played that game together. I think.
Can we all have a moment of silence for Battleborn having its open beta the same weekend as Overwatch?
There it is. All right. There it is. Okay, I think Overwatch is done. It's a great game. Popularized hero shooters, made other games better that we will get to.
Well, I'll say a couple words on it. Overwatch, I was like an Overwatch fanatic.
Sure.
to be honest, I actually still have a fucking Overwatch logo sticker on the back of my fucking car right now.
It's a great game.
I've been thinking about taking it off because I don't fucking play Overwatch anymore. But for like 2 years straight, I played the ever-loving shit out of Overwatch, and it's definitely a reason for not picking up and playing other games because that tends to happen. Same thing with League of Legends. I'm a competitive person and I love competitive online games.
Yeah.
And so with games like Overwatch and League of Legends, there's lots of games where like, oh, this game came out, but I started it and never finished it because I just wanted that itch of that competitive nature, you know?
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I'm currently in the middle of that with another game.
Yeah. So I love Overwatch. I love the characters. And even so much so, like, dude, I tried fucking like applying for jobs at Blizzard and shit at the time that it was coming out whenever I was in school.
Sure.
And I have fucking like Overwatch apparel. I have fucking shit ton of pop figures. I have the fucking Reaper statue. That the first one, you know, those really high quality statues they released.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the first one they released was a Reaper statue, and I bought that shit because Reaper was one of my mains in that game. But yeah, after about 2 years of just playing that game straight and competitively, I made it to. I mean, like, granted, like I don't think I was ever that good at the game. I made it to Diamond, I think, like twice.
That's pretty good. Dang.
But yeah, dude, I don't know. I fell off it pretty fucking hard out of nowhere. I don't know why. And I think it was even like I think what really ended up happening was I just got sick of fucking just hero shooters in general because then when Apex came out, I really got into Apex, but then I fell off of Apex pretty fucking hard because I don't know, like I didn't like as much as how cool it is, the abilities that you can use, like it's sick. But for me, I think this is why I got sucked so fucking hard into Modern Warfare when it released last year because it's just simple ass boots on the ground fucking shooting, and really the only things that determines, you know, if you're going to be able to kill someone or not is if you get the jump on them first, which sounds like a little weird because it's like, well,
you're totally right.
But I don't know. I think I just gravitated to that so fucking hard because I used to play a lot of Call of Duty back when I was in high school.
Hey man, we all played the fuck out of Black Ops 1.
Oh, Black Ops 1 was the shit, dude.
We all remember that, man.
Yeah.
Black Ops 1 was fucking.
But yeah, I don't know. And as farther and farther I get away from like from the release of Overwatch, the more and more I don't even hear about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. And so I will say, though, I am excited for Overwatch 2 because they did announce that. So whenever that comes out and whenever we know more about it, I guess, like, I'll definitely hop on that and see how it is. But I don't know. Like, it was definitely, if I would have to, if this was like a personal list with just my picks, Overwatch probably would have made it. But because I put so many hours into that game.
I mean,
I feel you.
The Overwatch 2 thing, how much do we want to explore the politics around games? Because if the answer is not that much, then
I know what you're getting at. I totally agree that, like, what Blizzard did with Hong Kong, we support that sort of political statures. Like, that sucks. Nintendo did something recently as well along that line.
With Smash.
Yes.
Yeah. Because when you mention,
God damn it, I fell for it. I'm a fucking sucker. I think we gotta keep rolling here to keep the list moving. I will
because this is just talking about Overwatch 2, which is not with this podcast / list.
Sure.
It's a boot.
I'll say one last final thing real quick. As someone who played Demo Man in TF2 almost exclusively, Junkrat is a fantastic parallel. And that's about all I got. All right.
The characters in that game are fucking fantastic.
Yes.
That's like...
Yes, they are great.
Top
Winston.
S tier.
Robot Monk.
Sorry. Who's next?
It's you. Wait, no. You did Overwatch. So now it's Bryan.
I did Overwatch.
Okay, so I think it's me.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I don't know how much of this list is like games. Like, can we strike out games that we just didn't play?
Yeah, sure.
Or
I think that's
I think I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to decide my approach to be like elevating, locking in games that I think made a big difference, maybe personally, as opposed to like, because I feel a little like a munchkin, you know, like knocking a game down from the list without having played it.
no. I think that's an inevitability. I put up games on here that I didn't play because I know.
Because there are a couple games on here that like I actively chose not to play.
Sure.
Even if I could like Minecraft, I'm looking at it. Like I can acknowledge the massive capital M times New Roman size 20 you know, difference it's made in influence it's had in the market and how things are marketed and how things are designed. But I haven't touched that game since the alpha, and I do not intend to.
Yeah, I haven't played that game since creative mode was the only option.
Yeah, like, is that reason enough to say that's not a part of our game of the decade conversation?
Well, I think the reason if you
I put it on there.
I think the reason that you would cut it is because there are other games that are better than it. There are 10 games that are at least better than Minecraft is basically the statement.
Yeah.
Which I think is valid.
Yeah. You were saying, Ian.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like what I said before with like, you know, whatever game we were talking about. I can't remember what game we were talking about, but yeah, like, you know, like a list that's kind of like can be agreeable to kind of like everyone, you know, and so when you get into that realm, it's more of like games that have its cultural impact pretty much.
Yeah.
But like we've said many times, it's kind of more a personal list. That's why I put it on there, just because it has that cultural impact.
Yeah, to acknowledge it.
Even from it, because that's the thing we were talking about with Sekiro. Like we don't know the effects it's going to have on games like in the near future. Minecraft has been, I think its official release was like 2010 or something, and it's still a game that's massively huge and still makes it in the top 10 games that made the most revenue like almost every fucking month.
I can say this with confidence that Minecraft is the biggest game of the decade by a landslide. I see plushies of that of like sheep and creepers and stuff everywhere. Yeah. Everywhere I go. Target, GameStop, all that.
The man is in Smash Brothers.
The man is in Smash Brothers. Minecraft Steve made it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got his meat out, you guys.
But yeah, I'm fine with cutting it.
I think we cut it, yeah.
Okay, then we cut Minecraft, and Steve being in Smash is a separate consideration.
Steve in Smash is the biggest game of the decade.
Alrighty. Let's see. What game shall I cut?
You got a bunch. Red Dead Redemption 2.
No.
It's on there twice, by the way. I'm going to cut one of those.
Yeah, it's on there twice. Okay, that's how good the game is, dude.
Yeah, true.
No, leave it.
It was on the list twice because these are separate people's lists.
Yeah.
Oh.
You tried to just mash them together.
Well, I think...
Yeah, so I was like, the top list had Witcher 3 and the bottom list had Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and I was just like, well, let me just cut this up a
Wait, are there two Witcher 3s on this list?
No, I deleted the first one.
Okay.
Which was probably yours.
Oh, sure.
I'm going to pull Bryan and do a game that I haven't played.
Okay.
But I don't think will make the list. I'm going to say Enter the Gungeon.
Okay, that's one of mine, and I'm not going to defend it, but I will say it's probably the roguelike that I've gotten the most mileage out of. I am going to look up my Steam page real quick. I wish I had this up earlier.
Because I guess that's another way we could do this is like we pick a game and then we ask the other people to defend it. It's like, hey, why shouldn't we cut this one?
I'm not going to defend it.
But no, say what you want to say about it.
God,
hey man, I couldn't help but notice that Spelunky 2 is not on this list. Can we talk about that?
No, we're not going to add that to this list, actually. Okay, I have sunk 224 hours into Enter the Gungeon. It is,
Holy fucking shit!
It is the third most played game on this list of mine. I'm sorry.
Okay.
On my Steam list. Man, I spent at least 100 hours trying to beat all the bosses without getting a single hit, and I fucking did. I did that shit.
Hell
I got
yeah.
that achievement. And I'm like, I'm done. I don't have to play this game ever again. And I didn't. It's a great game. It is fantastic. I think the RNG aspect of if you don't get the right guns, you're just fucked, regardless of whatever happens, is kind of bad. There are more bad guns in that game than there are good guns, which can lead to like a lot of runs just feeling terrible. But like the dodge roll mechanic is good. Figuring out like, okay, I understand how to beat this enemy on a consistent basis now is great. Yeah, beating the dragon and then the lich in bullet hell is great. The puns are fantastic. Yeah, I love Into the Gungeon,
The
but
puns are hilarious.
oh man, Kill It did.
I've watched some
great.
like streamers. I've watched them play Enter the Gungeon, and like it's a good time just to see like the humor behind that game.
Yeah, Into the Gungeon is funny because it's not like beating you over the head with its humor.
Yeah.
That's the best kind of humor, I think. But we got to get rid of it. Goodbye, Enter the Gungeon. We're shooting it and sending it back in time. I think it's me then.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Mass Effect 2 and 3. Are we going to consider those separate games, or are we going to consider those under the same...
wanted to... Okay, so... I think I wanted to
Mass Effect
discuss
2 was
it with
definitely
Matt.
just
With,
intense at the
not
beginning.
Matt, with fucking Brian. Because Brian, you're the one who's played 2 and 3. So I wanted to see, like, which one do you think would
I even
probably
played
be
Andromeda.
considered? Yeah, I played Andromeda too. I didn't beat it, but I played a good amount of it.
Andromeda is not on this list.
No, it's not. But what would you suggest to, like, I'm assuming you're gonna say Mass Effect 2.
To keep or to get rid of?
No, with Brian. Brian, if we were choosing which one that could possibly make it on the list, would it be 2 or 3?
Like if there is an entry between 2 and 3, that should be in the conversation. It's like 3 made a big splash just because it was the end of the trilogy, and there was all the hoopla about the ending and the different colored cupcakes that were all the same on the inside, and the joke ending they added that let you shoot the kid. Like,
yeah.
Wait, is that really the game?
So the game released, and there's the
Really
big hoopla with it. Yeah.
No, I know.
Right,
I remember
right,
the
no.
hoopla. I just didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the very ending of the game, the like spirit of the giant miracle machine at the very end is represented by a child, and
that is represented by a child that Shepard's been having nightmares about.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because he died in the beginning of the game.
It's a projection of his guilt. So his desire to be the savior of the universe, not be the savior but save it, is represented. It's a metaphorical representation, but the platform chooses to project itself as a child from his nightmares. And the game gives you a gun. It's one of those slow walky sections, and you have a gun. You do one thing with it, or you do another thing with it. But you just get to free aim it. You don't walk up and hit a prompt. You can aim it. So so there were people who wanted to shoot the kid at the end. Remember, kids. Remember, everybody. Exploring a sadistic fantasy does not make one sadistic. But when they did the ending to actually make a fucking difference, thanks. They added in a joke ending where you can shoot the kid and the miracle machine gets mad at you, and it just says like, fine, I'm gonna head out then. And
pretty much.
and it gives you a fail state that none of the other endings give you. And
that's
so fun.
And literally, then the Reapers win, and everyone fucking dies in the galaxy.
So it's a secret then, right?
Game dev. It's the game dev like, fuck you all, rocks fall and kill everybody.
Right.
I'm a dungeon master.
That's a secret ending then, right? It's not overtly told that you can do that.
I mean, technically, you can end the game like that if you want.
Yeah. Damn.
But Yeah, because it was
That
one of the
is
biggest
an
gripes. Yeah,
Does that roll credits? I can't remember.
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it does, dude. Yeah.
Then damn, that might just
The
be an honest to God ending.
Yeah, well, because the game, one of the biggest gripes with the ending was it didn't like it didn't have a lot of closure on a lot of stuff. It just left things open. It's like, well, what the fuck? What happened to
Yeah,
these characters and these characters? That's what people were pissed off about because
it
you
wrapped up
spend
nothing.
3 games learning these characters and then just kind of ends open ended. It's like, well, what the fuck?
Right.
So they redid it. They did an update, a free update where like it added a lot of closure to everything. But
Okay.
in that update, they added that ending because there's a lot of like videos of stuff about people like just like shooting the kid and like nothing happens previously
I see.
because like they're just like pissed off at the ending or something like that, and
they
so
gave
they
the
added
fans
that
what
ending.
they wanted, obviously.
Yeah.
That's good PR.
But back to the question: do you think it should be 2 or 3 that should be considered? Because I mean, 3 is my favorite of the Mass Effects, but I know Mass Effect 2 is like regarded more by the fan base as like the best one.
I'm gonna say Mass Effect 2 is the one that should stay.
Mhm.
Mass Effect 3 is the one that should go.
Okay.
Because the Mass Effect games did what the Dragon Age games did, where it's like the first one is all RPG with
Mhm.
kind of sucky combat, and the last one it's like Dead Space, and the last one is really good, satisfying combat with an RPG system that's really, really watered down. So it's like in the middle.
Mhm.
Right, is the
Yeah,
balance. The middle entry, Mass Effect 2, is the one that is like perfectly
Kind of like that balance. Yeah.
yeah.
Who just
Okay,
kissed?
I feel you. And its last mission is just like is god tier. It's the suicide mission at the end is like everyone remembers that shit.
Yeah,
So.
when you realize what the collectors are having people for,
Mhm.
and when the Human Reaper like shows up
Mhm.
and it towers over you, and it's like, I swear to God, there's like a fisheye lens effect when it like towers over this platform. That shit worked on me.
Yeah. A lot of people make fun of the fucking Human Reaper, but I remember the first time I played that shit, I was like, what the fuck?
Okay. So Alfred Hitchcock, famous horror director, he talks about the refrigerator test, where
Mhm.
If it works on you in the moment, and you believe it, and the fiction works, he says, I win. That's all I need.
Mhm.
I don't need to convince you forever. Like if you're, and the test is, to explain it, is that like if you leave the theater and you go home and you wake up in the middle of the night to go to the fridge to get something to eat, to get something to drink, and you open it, you stare, and you're trying to decide what you want, and you're like, hang on, that bit in that piece of media doesn't make sense. It's too late. The game won.
Mhm.
That like,
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
like looking back on it, of course that thing looks ridiculous, but in the moment that worked like a charm, right?
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
like the drama of the ending of that game and the action, like it all worked. And maybe that was my 10th grader brain, but it was probably like 70% my 10th grader brain. But I think but I remember watching Jordan at Lafwee on Twitch. That's LAFWEE. I was watching him play through Mass Effect 3, and I'd watched him play through Mass Effect 2 at that point, and just being in the audience with him while he was playing those games, and he's a big fan of the games. If we ever do any kind of long thing on Mass Effect, he should be a part of that conversation. The motherfucker has a goddamn N7 leather jacket, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
I was watching him play it and hitting all the beats, right? All the same stuff is happening from when I was a kid. Same game. But it was still kind of working. Like I remember being in chat and being just like, I remember that guy, and say the line, and like all that stuff that like it. I don't know how much of Mass Effect 2's impact is like the fact that I played it when I was young and I've had a really positive opinion of it for a really, really long time. Like I don't know how much of it is that. This is a really long conversation to have about Mass Effect, just to say 2. If I got to pick one, I want to keep 2.
But by the way, I think I should mention, I think we can defend up to 3 games each, because there are 3 of us here. And if we feel so strong about those games, they'll make the list. But if it comes down to that. So
Can we strike games down out of spite?
I think if we feel strongly enough about it, sure.
If we feel strong enough about it.
Okay.
I didn't actually cut a game, so
Yeah, you didn't. So yeah, go keep going.
does anybody else give a shit about Tetris Effect?
I've played it a little bit when I got my Series X because it's on Game Pass and they released a Tetris Effect connected mode so you can play it online now. But I've only heard about how good Tetris Effect is, especially with like VR, but obviously I don't have a VR headset. But I tried it out because it's on Xbox Game Pass and it's really fun. It definitely proved to me how much I fucking suck at Tetris, but it's really fucking cool.
Yes, Tetris Effect is the coolest Tetris there is.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for fucking just like things like lining up with music and movements that you're doing. Like I'm such a sucker for that shit, dude. And
the
Tetris
Broadway
Effect is
level,
really full of
how like notes will play every time you land a piece is so cool. I advise everyone to watch that. It's just to see how it works. Playing it is also fantastic. Yeah, Tetris Effect is the coolest Tetris, and it's cool that they launched Tetris 99 after that, which is a different, like, oh, I want to play this, but multiplayer.
The Battle Royale.
Yeah. But I think it's going. So.
Alrighty.
Tetris Effect after Mass Effect. All right. Who's next?
Go for it, Brian.
All right. So a game I think I want to cut right away just to start getting through these is Far Cry 3.
Okay.
I was going to do that earlier too, yeah.
Because gameplay story-wise, Far Cry 2 is better.
Really?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The story stuff it's trying to do, the gameplay stuff it's trying to do. Like Far Cry 3 is where the identity of the game gets a little muddled because it doesn't know exactly what it's trying to do, what it's trying to say. Like, do you remember Brody's girlfriend's name in that game? I don't.
Brody's girlfriend? Is Brody the guy you play as?
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't fucking remember his name. I didn't even remember his name was Brody.
Brody.
Granted, like I fucking love Far Cry 3, but the most memorable thing about Far Cry 3 is Voss.
Yeah, I think he's
and I was gonna say that like Voss, like the writing in Far Cry games is never as okay in 3, 4, and 5 has been but the villains are always the best.
The villains are always the highlight of those games.
They got Giancarlo Esposito in the new one, right?
Yeah, and Pagan Min in the fourth one was really fucking cool.
And then dude, Greg Burke as Joseph Seed. I played a lot of Far Cry 5 and I've been playing a lot of New Dawn, and like he is a vacuum for tension and drama in any scene that he's in. Like there's no limit to the tension in scenes that he's in. Like but Far Cry 3 I think was the weakest in that new lineup of 3, 4, 5. That like anything the game does, there's going to be a different game that does it better.
I feel like
a different Far Cry game specifically that does it better.
Yeah, the biggest thing about Far Cry 3 for me would be like its influence on games like after it.
Yes,
but
true.
But everything that's come after it has been better, I would say.
Yeah, because as funny as it was to flamethrower a weed field
with fucking like dubstep like weed music,
dubstep weed music, Skrillex. Ziggy Marley.
Oh no, it was dubstep reggae.
Yeah.
Far Cry 3 is a product of its year for certain.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes, but I want to strike that just because this is a big chunk in the list, and I want to start getting through it.
Sure, absolutely. Let's get rid of that.
So Far Cry 3 gets the
done. Is that me or
it's
Ian?
Me?
Okay.
So I'll move on. And we'll start by, as much as I love them, I'll probably say and just admit like this is not going to make it to the end. So I'll do it and just cut Mortal Kombat, the Mortal Kombat 9 through 11 games.
Sure.
So I fucking love Mortal Kombat. It's the only fighting game I honestly really give a shit about. I'm not really into fighting games, but I grew up on Mortal Kombat. And so they're the only fighting games I care about, really. And I think really the biggest thing about the new Mortal Kombat games it's how it took just its story and just what they did to implement a story into a fighting game is insane. And now like MK, I don't know if you guys played MK11. It's just it's like you're watching a fucking movie, dude. And like the acting and the characters, the voice acting it's so top tier. It's insane how like good the story missions in those games are. Like
the engine in MK11 is really, really good.
Yeah, it's no exaggeration to say that the newer Mortal Kombat's define story modes in fighting games nowadays.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the words I was looking for. And they're also the kind of like, especially with MK11. MK11 is a lot more accessible to people who don't play a lot of fighting games. I would say out of the three, MKX is probably the least accessible because that game you can do absolute bonkers shit in that game and fucking with combos. But for the fighting game community, that's like the best one is MKX.
That's the game where Jason can fight the Predator, right?
Hang on. I'm just gonna read through some of the characters in the DLCs. Okay.
Yes.
The Joker.
Yes.
Spawn.
Are you talking? This is MK11. This is MK11.
This is MK11. RoboCop.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rambo.
Yep.
It's Boomer Smash Brothers.
So with MK with MKX, they went with a real horror theme because in MKX they have the Xenomorph, they have Predator, they had Leatherface, Jason, and maybe someone else. I can't remember. I think that might be it.
Let me look through it.
I have some other friends on Discord who aren't too keen into those characters, but I fucking love it. I feel like Jason is in Mortal Kombat. Like, where else would he fit in a fighting game? Like, that's it. Exactly. That's perfect.
Yeah, and then with MK11, one of the themes they did, the main theme they did with that one was 80s action stars, and so that's why you have like Terminator, RoboCop, Rambo.
They actually got Peter Wells for RoboCop. That's crazy.
And they got Sylvester Stallone for Rambo too.
Right? Yes.
They just didn't get Schwarzenegger for.
I wish Terminator, they did. Though. God, that would have been so good.
But yeah, regardless, I mean, I fucking love the new Mortal Kombats, and with MK11, with it being a bit more accessible, it was actually like a fighting game I actually kind of really got into. I played a lot of online, and I felt like I got pretty good for being a beginner, and I was in the fucking practice ring trying to fucking like make up all my own combos and shit. So I actually got pretty heavily into MK9. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Sub-Zero, but
hell yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it's gonna make the list, obviously. But I think it was one of those. There's a lot of games on this list I feel like we put on here just so we can like talk about for a couple minutes and then move on.
Oh, absolutely.
And that was
a lot of this list. That's the crux of the
with that
whole
20-minute preamble, I'm going to very easily just strike this one off the list because it's not good.
I saved us some time and didn't add Street Fighter V, which I share a lot of the same sentiments about how you felt about Mortal Kombat, Ian.
Mm-hmm.
Great game, love it, fighting game. I got good at it, not gonna make it.
Because I was gonna say, just like if we're gonna talk about fighting games, I think like if you're not Smash Brothers or Street Fighter, like I think they're less important in the context qualify in the context of the fighting game scene as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
This also coming from a guy who does fighting games. So
well, I think there are a decent amount of like Guilty Gear tends to do pretty good. Mortal Kombat actually does better than you would expect. It's holding its own. It's the most Western fighting game, so there's a lot of fans of it.
And it's sold really well.
Yeah.
So,
but if we wanted to split this up further and do more work in like categories of games, like I think we would have a lot more room to talk about, Tekken versus Smash Brothers or Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter, of like what the games do and how the community is different. But like I
think we'll do that another time if we get to that.
Yeah, it says
Tekken is also big, by the way.
Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat 11 as of October 6th has sold 8 million sales.
That's pretty good for a fighting game. That's really good.
That's very good.
Is that on the Epic Store or is that on Steam?
It's on Steam.
So we could look at the analytics data of concurrent play if we wanted to, but that's.
I'm gonna.
Is that my turn or is that Ryan?
It's Ryan's turn now.
Yeah.
Your Honor.
Death. No. I'm not going there quite yet. Okay. Here's an easy one. I'm gonna get rid of Binding of Isaac. Humble little flash game.
Another roguelite.
Yes, another roguelite made by the same guy who made Meat Boy. That is also on this list. Binding of Isaac is alright. I think I sunk like 70 hours into it. I only played vanilla. There's like 4
Yeah, there's like a lot of different new versions now, yeah.
It's like Pokemon at a certain point where it's just like they just keep adding more content. It's like I can't keep up with this. I think Binding of Isaac vanilla is fine. It's good by itself. I spent a lot of time into it. If you get the Dr. Fetus upgrade, which just makes you launch nukes, you kind of just beaten the game. And that's pretty much all you need to it. So I think it's off. There was a board game that me, Bryan, and Ricky played of it. That was pretty fun.
Oh yeah, I've heard the board game is pretty good.
It's forcing people to hand over pennies and stuff. Yeah, the card game. All right, that's it for me.
Let's go, Bryan.
Okay, my turn. Take a quick look. I think I'm going to remove a game that I put up here, and I think I'm going to remove Ghosts of Tsushima.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great game. I really enjoyed it this year.
Yeah, me too. But in the context of the decade, I think there are other games we should talk about. So
sure.
Maybe
I think
put it in the perspective.
Sucker Punch nailed it. They did a good job. I was kind of worried that like, oh no, they're not doing a Sly Cooper game. I don't know how this is gonna go. But no, it turned out really good. I really enjoy it.
I think it worked on me because this is also the year we watched Samurai Champloo. So I think
true.
So I think, yeah,
great anime.
Yeah, great anime. Not a great ending, I want to say.
Oh, that's right. kind of a long, protracted fart where
Baseball
nothing happens.
Episode,
Just going out for a stroll.
That's my Sam Riegel impression. My mic cut out, so you don't get to hear it. Too bad. I think that was it for me. I think good game. I liked it a lot, but I think if there's a top 10, Ghost of Tsushima is not in it.
Fun fact: I saw this on YouTube. That's one of the larger maps in open world games. That is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest. Like
it is pretty big.
Yeah, only like GTA 5 and like Dust, Daggerfall, which is procedurally generated. It was among like the top 10 biggest, I think. Anyway.
All right, my turn. I'll go. I'll go because I feel like this is a game we've all played. Hotline Miami.
Oh man. Do I want to defend that? Oh, Jesus. Go ahead.
Great game.
Yeah.
Great. I love the what's the word I'm looking for? The moment to moment like gameplay of it, and how also when you die with like one hit, but then you like instantly just spawn right back to the beginning of the room.
Yeah.
It's just like a go type game. It doesn't feel like you're waiting and shit.
The name for that is the iteration time.
Yes.
The time between
iteration
tries.
time. Okay.
The iteration time is really, really low. So like
yeah.
The moment you failed, you can go right back in it.
That cuts deep. That's
like Metal Gear Solid, minute and a half before you can go back to the original stuff.
Yeah, cut it. It's gotta go.
Gotta go?
It's gotta go.
All right.
I got other games.
Banging soundtrack though.
That soundtrack is great. It's fantastic. Yeah, like Hotline Miami 2 is kind of a misstep. Hotline Miami 1 is primo. Who's next?
Oh, it's spelled Hootline Miami.
Hootline? That's about owls.
No, you only get to play as the owl mask. I don't remember what his name is.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, me either. They all have Greg, Jim, Bob.
I know.
How does the guy see out of the giraffe mask?
True.
Holes in the neck. I don't know. Who's next? Is it me?
You're right.
I guess it's me. I'm gonna cut Dark Souls. No, I'm not.
Oh God.
He could.
No, I don't think it's viable. How about XCOM Enemy Unknown? I think it's one. XCOM Enemy Unknown is great. It's the reason why I played Chimera Squad, which was one of my top 10 games. I think together as a list, I don't think we're going to agree that it's one of the best games of the decade, but I think it is one of the most important tactical RPGs in the past 20 years. But I think it's got to go. So goodbye.
My turn, right?
Yes.
Okay. So something that Your Honor. League of Legends.
Oh,
are you going for it?
I was wondering who was going to be the first one to go for it.
I'm going to
go
for
sure?
League of Legends.
All right,
Yes.
so just for anyone listening, all three of us extensively played a lot of League of Legends back in the day.
Yeah, it took a while for me to get sober from League of Legends.
Yeah. Just because, like, this one's a tough one. It's like taking old Yeller out behind the barn.
Yeah.
All the time that I sunk into League of Legends, right? And that's the kind of context of my experience.
For me, easily over 1,000, and I know for you it's probably even more than that.
I've played since 2010.
Yes. Since it was like in beta.
Yeah, Nautilus was a new champ.
Oh my God.
When I started playing, I distinctly remember.
God.
Yeah, I came in on Rumble.
February 2010.
I think I came in on. Oh fuck! Who was the new character that came out when I started playing?
Was it
I think it had to have been around. I think it was around the time like Kha'Zix came out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
probably 2011, 2012-ish.
I started playing after I graduated high school, so it's like probably 2012, 2013.
Sure.
It's this big, massive thing, and world tournament, and all these games, and multi-million-dollar contracts.
And we've gone to tournaments before. Like
yeah.
We went to the semifinals in Vegas.
Right. The LCS.
No, that was the spring final.
Spring finals in Vegas.
What's that? 14, 15, or 16?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And we went to go see them. It was a great time.
Huge ass, big ass arena that like Ariana Grande fills, and it was filled to the brim just to watch 10 people fucking click buttons.
It was the Mandalay Bay. And
yes, Mandalay Bay.
Good money to watch people right click other people.
Yep.
Just click them.
Just click that bitch.
And man, I think games that kind of suck you into them, like games that are trying to be the only game that you play, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think that's bad for the gaming ecosystem, because like people who only want, because on people whomst it works, and they only play League of Legends, and they're not playing other games. Like it colors their perception a lot, and I think there are better games for people to play. I think there are healthier games for people to play. Games that aren't, as easily monetizable. But like this feels like an old man on a soapbox yelling at a cloud. But like the reason I want to remove League of Legends from this list is to give the spot to a game that's doing something that I think is better.
Yeah.
like maybe this is just the relationship I had with League of Legends just kind of fermenting after I haven't played it for a while.
Yeah.
That like there are better games doing better things, and I think they deserve to be talked about.
And I feel like games that suck you in like this can sometimes also bring out the worst in you as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think
because like the most fun I had with League of Legends was playing with friends or turning the chat off straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Like the chance that someone talks to you in chat and it's going to be anything less than something you need Radaway for, like, is
yes,
so low, man. That's how toxic. Like your Geiger counter is going to go off.
Yeah,
Just touching the enter key. That like maybe that's more of why I want to strike the list is like the community around it. That like the whole like toxic gamer TM. I just found so many of them in League of Legends that it's like it sours it for me, and I want to talk about other games.
Yeah.
I don't just having.
And this could be said for like any game that does that,
Yeah.
Like Overwatch did that too. So
True.
Mm-hmm.
One final note.
Yeah.
Seraphine, and I feel like that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
what's that?
That was kind of weird. That was kind of awkward.
There was a whole debacle about her.
It was man. How do I summarize that?
Fake.
Yeah, it was a character in the game having a Twitter account. That's not new, but what is new-ish was the character never acknowledging the fiction, always presenting itself as a real person. Obviously, there were writers behind it, and the writer for Seraphine's Twitter account, it was like Seraphine released some tracks on like SoundCloud, right? It was a little bit of a guerrillas situation, real people playing a fake person doing real things, and then we found out that Seraphine was a character, League of Legends specifically, and the fictional Seraphine is from KDA, is from the KDA universe, the K-pop kind of sphere, which is not actual League of Legends, the like medieval Runeterra, whatever. Like that's not what the character, the Twitter, was for. The character of the Twitter was to sell a legendary skin. Like the fiction of the Twitter character was the struggling artist who was like, I struggle with things like everyone else does. Mental health stuff. I have down days too.
No, you don't. You're just a fictional ad.
Yeah. So,
wow.
now we're starting to cut into the meat. But the purpose of the Twitter account was to advertise Seraphine, to get people involved in the fiction. And Seraphine would be on Instagram commenting.
Is this a new character?
Yeah, it's a new champ.
Okay.
It's the second to newest character. And she would post things on Instagram, and it was a combination of like gently drawn over real pictures. So no one honestly believed it was a real fucking person. Okay, she's drawn. Okay, we get it.
Yeah.
But people were still engaging with her like she was a real person, and she was commenting and responding, like on Twitter, on Weibo, which is like Chinese Twitter,
right?
On Instagram. So it's like people were engaging with the fiction, people were buying it, and then we found out that she's a character, but not just a character from League of Legends. She's a character from a very niche part of League of Legends, not just a very niche part of League of Legends, but she's releasing with a legendary skin. So those are the $30 plus.
Yeah.
Wait. She released with the skin?
She released with a legendary skin.
Oh my god.
Seraphine. And it was the only other skin she got besides base Seraphine. Because back in the day, like fucking 2015, characters in League of Legends would release with multiple skins, usually 2.
Yeah.
Alongside their base skin, but because of the amount of work that goes into the characters, so it's not for no reason. A lot of most modern characters only release with one skin. They might get one closer to release, another one, but Seraphine only comes with base Seraphine and her legendary skin. So if Seraphine had just been honest marketing from the very beginning, honest advertising, I don't think people would have been as mad. But it was, hey, I'm just a person with a $30 skin.
Yeah.
and that's
it's a real capstone
on it. Like it's like if the Wendy's Twitter started talking about all that stuff, and then asked you to buy $5 boxes like that. Like it's just it was a really insidious kind of marketing. Scooch on Twitter has a really good video kind of summarizing it all. But that's for people who do not follow League of Legends. That's why you heard of League of Legends a lot on Twitter 2 months ago.
And the plan is to get also back into this again when we discuss it for biggest fiasco of 2020. It's in there.
I think we know what the answer is. I think it's Cyberpunk.
Oh, maybe.
I know. Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of things that happen.
I mean, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. League of Legends out.
Skyrim's in the decade, so we could do that. You see that mountain, you can climb it. we can Fallout 76. It just works.
I think that would be more about the 2020 awards.
Yeah.
Who's next? That was Bryan.
It's me. Me's next. Me next. Let's see. I'll just do this. It's gonna hurt my heart, but I'll do Ori. I'll do Ori. I'm sure. Have you guys played Ori?
I am aware of it. It looks great. It is a beautiful game.
Have you played Ori, Bryan?
I have not.
Okay, so that's pretty much why I'm gonna do it right now. But Ori and the Blind Forest and Will of the Wisps are by far two of the best Metroidvania games I've ever played. They're just insanely good. I can't get enough of them. I 100%ed Will of the Wisps earlier this year.
Nice.
And it's one of my favorite games of this year was Will of the Wisps. And the soundtrack, the animation, the gameplay loop of that game is absolutely fantastic. I remember one time I saw some guy explained it pretty well on it was a Steam review, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. But it's just sometimes, there's those games that come by and in a certain genre that just change it, and so and I think a good example would be The Witcher 3 would be, it really changed how RPGs set, I would say dialogue systems in an RPG, what that means and all that, and how other games ahead of it tried to do the same thing. And I think Ori is in that camp, but with indie style Metroidvania type games.
Sure. I should give that game a shot this year. I still got time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can buy bundles for it too. You can get both games for pretty cheap.
I think the number one problem that I have is that I just don't like Metroidvania games. I can respect that people like that game. I tried Axiom Verge, and I love how that game looks too, but I can't get into it. I'll see if I can't give it a shot. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I don't think anyone's gonna fight for PUBG.
No.
Players Unknown Battlegrounds, probably
I think we can all agree on its impact. It was the first huge fucking battle royale game that released, but yeah, in terms of our own personal list, I barely played that game. So
yeah, I never played it at all. It's one of the most influential games in the decade. That's about as nice as I could be doing. It's really bland looking.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it when I bought an Xbox One X in 2018, and it came with a copy of it. So I played a little bit on my One X, and it was fun. But then Apex came out, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Apex will do that. Okay, I think that's me.
Go, Bryan.
I feel like we could benefit from some very specific criteria of what the game of the decade, what is it, what's the points it's got to hit. Because if we're talking about memes,
yeah,
I think Skyrim's up there, right?
Most memes of the decade.
Yeah. So
probably.
Hang on, that's a meme of the decade. I think if there's a game that's in here that I know shouldn't be in the conversation, as much as it hurts me, I think I want to go Metal Gear Rising.
Oh man!
Because I never played it. It looks so cool though.
You cut that fucking robot in half, and the cut technology with the Zandatsu.
There were a lot of people that didn't play it because it's a Metal Gear game, and Metal Gear games are kind of esoteric.
I just haven't played a Metal Gear game.
You don't even have to play a Metal Gear game to play Metal Gear Rising.
And Platinum games like fucking Vanquish.
Remember the part of that game where it's stealth for no reason? Because it's just fuck it. I'm just going to cut these guys.
It's a Metal Gear game, so there has to be some kind of light stealth.
Yeah.
But it's also telling that they don't punish you that hard because they understand stealth is not why you're playing Revengeance.
Yeah,
that's not what Revengeance is good at.
It's practically a joke.
Halfway through development, Kojima Pro was like, man, we suck at making these kinds of games. And then, hey, Platinum, can you? And Platinum just, slides into their DMs and says, yes. and Revengeance is the game that comes out of it. I think it does really, really great things for Raiden as a character. The villains in Revengeance are just
Great.
wonderful.
They're
spiky
fantastic.
meatballs.
That's the
Fantastic.
best villain lineup I think I've ever seen. Honestly, like Armstrong is great. Jetstream Sam has a cool sword.
Sundowner, Monsoon, Mistral, they're
all of
all
them.
really, really good. The
I can't think of a better lineup of villains.
If we want to judge them, if we want to judge it as a Metal Gear game, like the Codex conversations are hilarious and funny.
And there's so many of them. Like
Yes.
they're incredibly missable, but there's like hundreds of those for incredibly specific situations.
But the combat is kind of shallow. The game is kind of short. Your options are kind of limited, and I think there are other games in this list that will do those things better.
Oh, it hurts.
Going to the ACG scale of buy, wait for a sale, rent, and never touch. It's like if you can Revengeance is cheap, right? If you like Metal Gear games and you don't like what 3 and 4 did with Raiden, play Revengeance. And if you like Platinum games, give Revengeance a shot. If you like really fucking dope ass music,
Revengeance is
play
the music is fantastic. The Revengeance is probably the easiest Platinum game, so it's very easy to get into.
Yeah.
It's play that game if you have not already. Everybody.
Yeah. Because a lot of these games, like the games are on this list, because they're at least briefly in contention. But I think, and another one of those, if there's a game on this list that's got to go, I think one of them is Revengeance. As much as I love Revengeance, I think it's Revengeance.
It hurts. Mm-hmm. I totally agree. It hurts. I love that game to death, but it may not make it.
All right, my turn. I'm gonna go Halo Reach.
Okay.
Halo's a weird game for me, dude. I didn't grow up with an Xbox. I had an Xbox 360, but I didn't own Halo 3. Yeah. But I remember playing Halo at a friend's house who owned an Xbox, and I remember playing Halo 3 whenever that certain friend got Halo 3, and then I got an Xbox 360 kind of late into the cycle. And I've only, out of the Halo games, the original trilogy, I would say I only completed the first game. But I would say that Halo Reach is my favorite of the Halo games that I've played so far. And I remember, you guys remember this, going over to our buddy Matt's house and fucking just bringing our Xboxes, our PlayStations, and just playing an unseen amount of hours of video games. And I remember at one point we played, I'm not sure about you guys, but I remember I played a lot of Halo Reach with some of the guys there.
Yeah.
Sure.
But in terms of obviously the making it to the list, I just don't think Halo Reach holds a candle to everything else here. So
I got Halo Reach sometime within the past 2 years, and I played a decent amount of the online of that, and it's okay. It's much different than Halo Online is much more different than most other FPS shooters. Like
it's very different.
You're definitely a super soldier. You're bulky as hell. And a lot of anytime two people are remotely close to each other, they just punch each other and both die. And there's something beautiful about that. It's like a cross counter or something.
Yeah, mutually assured destruction.
Yeah. All right.
You go for the melee, you might kill me, but I'm going to go for the melee too, and I'll kill you too.
They're both. It's like the movie thing where they're both punching each other's cheeks at the same time. And they fall over. It's beautiful that that can even happen in a game. I think that's the best part of the whole thing. Okay, I think it's my turn. Man, this is getting lean. All right, easy one. Super Meat Boy. I don't think it's gonna make it. It defined indie games for sure.
Yes, it definitely did.
Also, that came out 2010, just for the benefit of our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it defines modern day platforming, and it defines most indie games nowadays. It allowed most indie developers the strength and the confidence to be like, no, I can release this game into a market. This can
Mhm.
sell. And I
Yeah,
think that's significant.
That's why I put
and it made a
Undertale up there.
documentary too.
They sure did.
With
Fez
what
is
other
on there.
games? It was Fez.
Yep.
Is that what the game? Fez and Braid.
Braid, yes, that was the other one.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Braid?
But I said that's why I put Undertale up there, because someone made it in RPG Maker, and it was just like, well, how do you make something that big with that much of a cultural impact in RPG Maker? It's like a fucking like a hentai game getting into the Louvre.
Getting into the loop.
We'll get to Undertale. I have some stuff to say about that game.
That's how far I think Undertale is punching above its weight class.
God.
Sure.
In terms of like where it's gone, the amount of influence it's had, like in that Super Meat Boy way of like, this humble little game fucking made waves.
Yeah, totally.
Is it my turn?
I believe
Yes.
so.
Gone Home is going
Gone
home.
home. It's going home.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about Gone Home.
It's a unique experience. I think it's interesting, and it's important for the evolution of narrative games to be presented in a style like that.
And the company has moved on to make some other good games too. I can't remember what they are, but I just know that they're thriving really well right now. So
I feel bad that I don't know what else that company has made.
Publisher is Fulbright? No.
Fulbright. That's it.
It's Fulbright. They have done Gone Home. They did Tacoma, another similar game. And,
that's Tacoma. Yeah, that's right. They did Tacoma.
and Open Roads, which is the one that just got announced at the Game
It got
Awards.
announced at Game Awards. Yeah.
Oh, they're taking their time. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also,
All right, my turn.
They are listed as having a grand total of 8 employees doing,
Oh, okay. Huh.
doing games that like narratively deep with 8 people. Man,
Do you guys think I can like cut one more, and then do you guys think in order to like maybe speed this up, we'll start like discussing what games are just obviously going to make it into the top list, and we'll start putting that in there?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let me cut one more.
Sure.
If I may be so bold, I could possibly cut 2. So Call of Duty, Warzone, and Apex.
Okay.
Since they're kind of under the same camp.
That's strategic. I like it. I'll say one quick thing about Apex is that I got into this game literally a week ago, and I sunk 60 hours into it. Like,
Bro, what?
Fuck.
Oh my
Apex
God.
consumed me, dude. I was like, I'll install this. Okay, I'll boot it up. I'll see. Oh my God. I can't stop playing this game.
Yeah, it feels good.
It's crazy.
And for me, I got into Apex when it released. And again, though, like I was talking about before, I kind of got burnt out on the hero shooter thing.
Sure.
And, but Call of Duty Warzone, like I said, I got sucked into just Modern Warfare. It just made me feel like I was back in the day just playing Call of Duty Black Ops and Modern Warfare 2 and stuff back in high school. But once Warzone dropped, Warzone is definitively like the battle royale game that has sucked me in and the one that I have continued to stay with. Granted, I haven't played in about a month and a half yet, and I still don't own Black Ops Cold War yet, just because I got a new console. I'm playing a bunch of single player games, so it's like I don't want to distract myself from that.
Sure.
But goddamn, Call of Duty Warzone, I don't know what it is, man. I love that game mode. It's super fun. The guns feel amazing. The Gulag implementation was fucking genius.
Yeah, that's cool as hell.
Because that's the thing I was talking about. I was like, damn, a Call of Duty Battle Royale. I was like, yeah, they're probably going to add like shields, but I feel like taking away, like making the time to kill like super long, because that's one of the things I didn't like about Blackout, the Black Ops 4 Battle Royale mode, is like the time to kill was still too high for me. Sure. And it just took too long to fucking kill people. But But then I was like, one of the greatest things about not Warzone, Modern Warfare, just in general, like it's just that it's that like classic quick time to kill of Call of Duty that it's always had, and because it went back to that because a lot of the Call of Duties beforehand, like Black Ops 4 and Advanced Warfare, Infinity Warfare, the time to kill started getting like too long, and I think that's kind of why I just like dropped off on it a little bit. And I was like, but I don't know how that's gonna work in a battle royale setting because you can just walk out and just die instantly. Even if when you have full armor, you still can die pretty quickly.
Oh, absolutely.
But
yes.
And so I was like, that's probably going to be an issue. I don't know if I'll like a battle royale in this type of Call of Duty. But they came up with the solution to that, and it's fucking Gulag. It's like, yeah, you can die pretty quickly, but you have one chance to do a 1v1 in a fucking Gulag shower, and if you win, you redeploy.
Yeah.
And then even after that, even if you do die again, you can still get redeployed by teammates, and it's not hard to get redeployed either. So in Apex, you have to get your person's calling card thing off their box, take it to a revive station, and then that revive station can only be used once, and you can only revive once. Call of Duty Warzone, you can just revive as much as you can as long as you have the money for it.
Oh, crazy. That's cool.
And it feels good to play, man. And I got sucked into it with some other friends of mine. Through it, I gained some friends because I started playing with one of my bosses from work.
Nice.
And then I met his friends. So I have a lot of good memories with Call of Duty Warzone this year. And it's one of my favorite games of this year. But in terms of decade, yeah, I don't think it's going to be here.
Yeah. I wonder what my experience with Apex is going to be like in the weeks to come, because I can't stop. I'm thinking about playing Apex after this. It's like, I can't. All right. So we're thinking about games to keep from this list.
I feel like games that we feel like are just like, all right, yeah, this is going to make it, if we can all agree on it.
Sure. Okay.
I feel like we should choose the games that all three of us can agree that is most likely going to make it in the top. And if we can't all agree on it, then we'll keep it there and come back to it.
I'm gonna read the remaining games.
I think Hades and Bloodborne are easily in that category.
I'm gonna read the remaining games real quick.
And New Vegas.
Doom 2016, Saints Row the Third, Spec Ops: The Line, Cuphead, Yakuza 0, Super Mario Odyssey, Smash Bros. Ultimate, Skyrim, Dark Souls, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, Resident Evil 2 Remake, Mass Effect, Limbo or Inside, God of War, Bloodborne, PT, The Last of Us, Witcher 3, Hades, Breath of the Wild, Red Dead Redemption 2, Walking Dead Season 1, Uncharted 4, Amnesia Dark Descent, Spider-Man, Grand Theft Auto 5, Fallout New Vegas, Undertale. Okay. So, from that list...
We'll just choose one right now? Like, you choose one, we'll go in that same order that we were doing?
Let's choose one, in the order, and we'll see
like, if we all
where
agree
we
on.
fall. Okay. I'm gonna go Smash Bros. Ultimate will survive?
Mm-hmm.
That's telling.
Yeah, for me, it's not, at least.
Okay. I'm surprised. I thought that was going to make this list. Damn. Okay. I guess it's gone then. Shit.
Well, no, keep it there.
Keep it there?
Yeah, keep it there, because then, like, we might not agree on a lot, and so we'll probably only be like, oh, there's only, like, 6 of them that we all agree on, and then we'll have to pick the other 4.
Let's put a parentheses 0 to differentiate it from a star. That's what I do.
All right, you go, Matt. Or Matt, Bryan, jeez.
Matt. Calling Matt.
I want to say Bloodborne.
Bloodborne?
Brian kind of bounced off Bloodborne.
You what?
I will support Bloodborne because I know you guys... Well, actually, I don't know if Ian likes it, but I know Brian loves it.
I actually... Yeah, I know. 100%.
Okay.
Are we supporting that?
Put in the toppest.
Okay. Well... Sure, throw it in there. It's in there.
My turn. I think I'll just get it out of the way. I'm gonna say Skyrim. Silence speaks volumes.
Now I'm thinking about it. I'm chewing on it. I can see it in there.
I know people who have bought Skyrim like 7 or 8 different times for different.
I'm kind of one of those people. Yes, I bought the collector's edition on
I was trying
360
not to
when it
name
came
it.
out. I bought the PC version. I rebought it for the newer Xbox consoles, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have the Switch version though.
Yeah, I think I'm into it.
I think Skyrim is a really fucking important game.
Yeah.
And culturally, developmentally, like in terms of the impact that it's had, like the gameplay, I want to say wasn't really doing anything new, but like, come on, guys. We remember what it was like going to the midnight launch, right?
Yeah.
And there was a PS3 setup.
Yeah.
You could play the first 30 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you could just trade out, and we were all watching what the game was like.
Mm-hmm. And
And
people were like, "What the fuck?"
Oh my god! Like we were all there.
And for me, like, there's so many games that have come out, like big open world games that have come out after Skyrim, and I'll say that aren't other Bethesda RPGs, you know, like Fallout 4 and you know, stuff like that. But even games like Witcher 3 and all the big Assassin's Creed games that have come out and Far Cry and all the Far Cry games, I don't think in any way live up to the discoverability of Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Sure.
Or just any like Elder Scrolls games or even Fallout games, because dude, you go into just some random ass cave and everything is so meticulously placed to tell stories. Like I remember like literally one time I replayed it recently, like last year, and it's right when you leave the area from escaping Alduin and you go down the trail towards was it Riverwood? Is that what the little town is called right outside?
Oh
River
man,
Run?
I know
River
what you
Run,
mean.
yes. Yeah. There's a little dungeon placed right there, right before it, that's like, oh, let's go up here. And there's a bandit guarding the cave. You kill him, and like I remember I was like, I've never noticed this before. He's leaning up against the wall on a barrel, and on the barrel is a wedge of cheese and a knife. And it's obviously like he's on guard duty, but he has like a wheel of cheese next to him to snack on while he's on guard duty. And it's shit like that. And there's also, you go to other Dwemer ruins and you can find all these journals about this like this team that came in to explore the ruins, and it was like, oh, and we got like hit by a blizzard and this guy fell off of the bridge on the way in. And if you go out into that bridge and look down, you can see a frostbitten corpse at the bottom below the bridge. Just stuff like that. And I don't think any game like lives up to that at all. And the only thing I feel like that lives up to that feeling discoverability is probably Breath of the Wild, but I feel like that's more like in its sense of scale, pretty much.
I think Breath of the Wild is probably the second open world game that has lived up to its sense of scale.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm going to support that game as hard as Skyrim, I think, but I could see Skyrim being on this list.
Okay.
So I am okay with Skyrim being on the Game of the Decade list.
Okay.
Shit. Okay, hold on. Whose turn is it?
Well, it's your turn.
Oh, okay. Doom makes this list.
Let's see.
Why?
Because it's got... Oh, jeez. I was going to say because it's a reinvention of an old game done so very well. The glory kills are really good. The atmosphere is sleek as fuck.
Okay, but like, what makes it more worthy of consideration than some of these other games? Not just good things about it, but what does it do that makes it worth being above some of the games we've cut, right?
I suppose so.
Like what does it do that makes it better than Revengeance, Halo Reach, Apex, Far Cry. Like what does Doom 2016 do that makes it worthy of standing above them?
I think it's the
I'd say it's
most.
polish.
I would
That's
say
true.
that it's probably the most frenetic FPS made in the past 10 years. That feels cohesive and coherent enough to all work together in the end. If you're saying from like a cultural impact, I would say that Doom is kind of it's the reviver of the Doom franchise. That series has been dead for a long time, since Doom 3. Like, they felt so discouraged after that release that they just didn't want to make anything else after that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys aren't feeling it, then I understand.
No. I'm just. I feel like we shouldn't put a game in the top 10 or whatever with no explanation, no preamble. So I'm gonna make an argument for Bloodborne when it comes back around to me. But just like,
It's already in the top.
yeah. But I'm gonna make an argument for it, like why it should be there.
Okay.
But like,
Well, okay. Does anyone else agree that Doom should be in the top?
yeah,
I think it has a chance to, but I feel like if it were in the top, it would be near the lower of the top. So I feel like we need to choose other things first.
I'm going to put a star next to it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Sure.
All right, go for it, Brian.
okay. So I think Bloodborne deserves to have its spot locked in because of the way our society has taken in the Dark Souls games and the whole prepare to die, it's going to be so hard, and the whole get good mentality and all of that stuff that's been encouraged by Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, like, and the way Bloodborne teaches you to play. This is a little bit of play conditioning of Bloodborne. Okay, so Dark Souls 1 and 2 will kill you and then hand you a shield and say good luck. They teach you to play the game in a way that's not very fun. Defensively, shield, spear. And Bloodborne kills you and hands you a gun. And says, fuck them up. That a way that if you've played Bloodborne and you get it, right? And then you go back and play the other games, you understand how to play them fun. Not shield, sword. You two-hand your weapons. And you fucking get in their face. That I think Bloodborne deserves to be here, both Victorian H.P. Lovecraft, the setting from softwares like esoteric, really cryptic characters and NPCs. I think the combat is really tight and frenetic in a way that certainly the other Dark Souls games do not. But the snappy, responsive combat, I think, between the richness of its setting that I think a lot of other games don't do, the cohesion of its combat, and the displaying of its themes. The boss battles are fantastic, which is a game that the Dark Souls games are known for, is the big bosses. The bosses are good, with the caveat that almost half of them are big rampaging monsters who take up more than half the screen, which but I think all that stuff combined, and specifically the way it teaches people to play Dark Souls 1, 2, and then eventually 3 better. It changes the way you understand those other games when you go back to them. That I think Bloodborne kind of stands head and shoulders above. I'm gonna swing for the fences and say that it stands above the other Dark Souls games in that way.
Well, a lot of people will agree with you on that.
Yeah, seriously, like, certainly not a super spicy take, but like, I think Bloodborne is better than the other Dark Souls game, and I'm gonna include 3 in that.
Sure.
But that's why I think, because of the way Bloodborne changes people's understanding of the other games in a way that encourages them to be played fun. I think Bloodborne is the best of them.
I would agree with that argument as well, just because, like, I played Bloodborne this year, I played it when it first released, but I didn't beat it. But I mean, caveat is I literally got to the last area of the fucking game, and then I never went back to it. And so technically, I kind of beaten the game twice, if you want to say that. But today, this year, like more like 3 months ago, I played through it again because, like, fuck it, like I just want to play it, and I actually went through and beat it to completion. And I did the secret ending where you have to eat the 3 umbilical cords and fucking fight the boss at the end, which is pretty cool. And you turn into a slug.
Oh,
but so I played that, and I was like, oh, like I was having that Soulsborne like feeling. I was like, I want to play another. So I popped Dark Souls 3 into my Xbox and started playing that. And going from Bloodborne to Dark Souls 3, definitely like I definitely started playing Dark Souls 3 a lot more aggro, I would say, than I usually do, because of playing Bloodborne literally right before it.
yeah, it changes your mindset about how you think about combat.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
So you already chose Bloodborne, Brian, but do you want to choose another game to put in?
I think I want to go with Fallout New Vegas.
Ooh, I'll agree with this one just because Fallout New Vegas is one of my favorite games.
Yeah, exactly right. Is that just the whole enchilada, right?
Mm-hmm.
The story
A beautiful
is
mess
and compelling in a way that Fallout 3 is not, in a way that Fallout 4 is not.
Yeah.
The expansions are specific and precise in what they're trying to do.
God, the expansions are so good
in the theming and the atmosphere that those expansions are trying to go for.
Mm-hmm.
Dead Money was enjoyable at all for me because I was an unarmed build, which is something that nobody else, I think.
Dead
really
Money.
good.
Oh my god, that sounds terrible.
yeah, Dead Money is
An unarmed Dead Money
No,
run.
No, Dead Money unarmed actually works.
It was really, really easy.
Oh, it works.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, because if you're running Bloody Mess, when you knock the hunters down at first, they just explode. So you auto kill them right away. You don't need to dismember them, and you don't need dog/god to come in and like chomp them up.
That's so funny.
It's
It's
easy
playing
mode.
Dead Money with literally any other build that sucks.
Energy weapons rip. But I think Fallout New Vegas on its own, really buggy. Bethesda, let's go. But
Yeah.
in the context of way better than Fallout 3, way better than Fallout 4. Fallout New Vegas is a really, really good game, but also the story of like Obsidian Bethesda, right?
Yeah.
Of not giving them time to finish it. They were 3 points off on the Metacritic, so they didn't get a bonus. And then they go on to do other stuff.
Yeah.
And then
Because that's what kind of like makes me like. I mean, we're getting to more certain. This is complete derail from what we're saying, but it makes me hopeful for like Cyberpunk, just because Fallout New Vegas was so fucking broken when it first came out, dude. It was bad.
That's true.
But now it's literally regarded as like by most people the best Fallout game.
Yeah.
So
I think Fallout New Vegas deserves to be in that conversation, as long as we're talking about RPGs.
Yeah,
We're
sure.
talking about.
Yeah.
We're talking about.
I feel like there's gonna be a lot of RPGs in here.
Yeah, because like I don't think Mass Effect really deserves to be in the like best of the best, cream of the crop. Like if there's RPGs that definitely need to be part of the conversation, I think it's Witcher. I think that's Fallout New Vegas specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Elder Scrolls, like 5. If it's got to be one, because like I don't think Dragon Age Inquisition needs to be there.
I
love that
I would
game,
agree.
too.
I will actively fight against Dragon Age Inquisition, to be honest.
I mean, that's a conversation for another time. I liked
Yeah.
Dragon Age Inquisition, but I think it was like a couple years later I found out online there's a lot of people fucking hate that game, and I was like, wait, why? I thought it was good.
I had fun. What do you mean you guys hate it?
I was like, what the fuck? But whatever, that's a conversation for another time. All right, we're good to move on.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, I'm trying to decide between two games right here.
Is there a game that we can like all absolutely agree that has to make this list, because we're gonna have like basically 3 proponents from 3 people, and then 1 remaining as a result of having 10 games.
I feel like those 2 games, like if we're talking about like, all right, it's gonna be in the list. It's gonna be in the list. I feel like I don't know what you guys played and completed, but I feel like it's either gonna be The Witcher 3 or Red Dead 2.
I think, is it Red Dead? I think it might be Red Dead that we can all
like
agree.
I love both games dearly,
Okay.
but Red Dead 2 is definitely like literally one of my most favorite games ever.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when you start talking about The Witcher, it's really hard to talk about The Witcher without acknowledging the Witcher verse, right? The
Mhm.
2 games before that, one, like Witcher 1 is really hard to get through, and Witcher 2 is really
hot take. I think Witcher 1's better than Witcher 2. I fucking love Witcher 1.
Really?
I love the Witcher 1.
I got no
I think
dog
it
in
puts
this
way
fight.
more emphasis into its. I think it puts way more emphasis into its world building. I think the combat is the weird rhythm component.
The combat is so fucking weird, but I like.
Yeah, but it's really
I
weird
just loved the story. It's so
in
good.
the way that all combat systems at that time were, right? You guys remember trying to play Morrowind? Like,
Yeah.
we just hadn't figured this shit out.
Yeah.
So, just Your Honor, Morrowind, death.
Roll d20, death.
Yeah. But talking about The Witcher 3 in isolation is kind of hard, right? Because now we have the books, and now we have the Netflix show, which is very good, by the way. But like, The Witcher 3 needs all of that context, and Red Dead 2 is pretty self-contained, right?
Yeah, Red Dead 2
Oh, yeah,
is a
no,
prequel. It works by itself.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like Red Dead 2 is very contained in like, hey, this game's just fucking good. And then Witcher 3, it's more like, yeah, this game's fucking amazing, but it also has its like cultural impact that spreads out to like everything else.
That's super, super true.
I didn't.
That's why I feel like just both of them should be there. But
I didn't care about ambient occlusion until Red Dead. When I saw the light pierce Arthur's ears, I was like, "Wow,
yeah, right.
How is this running on a PlayStation? This is crazy."
Yeah.
Can we?
And that's another thing with Cyberpunk. It's like, how did Red Dead Redemption 2 run? But Cyberpunk
CD Projekt Red can take some notes.
Yeah.
So I think we're adding Red Dead is where this leans.
I think we can all agree on Red Dead as a part of the conversation.
Yeah. One sec.
And so that's like the one that we're all like agreeance on, and then I still have to choose mine, right?
I think so.
All right.
Yes. I added the star next to Red Dead to signify that we all agree.
I'm choosing one. It's between these 2, man. This is my second choice. All right, so I'll go The Witcher 3 with mine.
Okay.
Just because, like we were talking about, like it's just every game now is trying to be The Witcher 3 in terms of fucking like I remember playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey and just like,
oh, holy shit!
If
we want to talk about the influence of the Witcher 3, I think there's a really long conversation to be had about the influence of the Witcher 3 on Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla.
But it really started poking out in fucking Odyssey, because like the biggest thing about the influence and what I really like think is like some of the best things about The Witcher is their side quests. It's like the side quests are insane, and it's kind of like, you know, with Elder Scrolls, you'll see the main quest has all these spectacle moments in the main quest, and then the side quests are just kind of like, oh, go to do this dungeon, grab this and that. Like, there's no like big spectacle like there is in the main quests.
There's very few set pieces.
Exactly, set pieces. But Witcher 3,
go to this place and kill some Draugr.
Yeah. But in Witcher 3, like a side quest looks like a main quest. Like, of course, everyone points to the Bloody Baron quest lines, and then even that, especially when it got to the fucking the expansions, like it's just like, holy shit, you know. And so And then when it came to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it was the same thing. Once those side quests came around, like they're really engaging side quests. They're funny. They're cool. Like you met a lot of funny ass characters or interesting characters, and also with fucking, with choosing your character, either Cassandra or Alexios. I'm granted the dialogue systems aren't as like deep, I would say, but it's just, and Assassin's Creed isn't the only fucking game that's done that. It's a lot of games are trying to fucking replicate what The Witcher 3 had.
Yeah. Everyone else is trying to catch that lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then above all, Witcher 3 is just a great fucking game. It's just really fucking good.
It's very pretty. I am always impressed.
Still to this day, some of the best video game sunsets you'll see in a video game.
Yeah, I remember looking at that back and then being like, wow, is this a Crysis engine? This is crazy.
Yeah, 2015 that game came out.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Move on.
I'm going to swing for the fences and go with Yakuza 0.
Ooh.
And I'll tell you why I say that.
Okay, go for it.
I don't know if it makes it, but I'm at least going to make a defense for it and say the Yakuza series has been running since about 2005, I believe, for PS2.
PS2, yeah.
Yep. And it was basically a spiritual successor to Shenmue, which was kind of this pedant bystander. You're a dude trying to get revenge for his father's murder. But you're kind of just a dude. You're working the forklift for a job. So Yakuza comes around and is like, okay, no, you work for the Japanese mafia. You're a bad dude. You punch dudes. And that series progressed for a long time. There were 5 games in that franchise until 0 came out.
Dude, I didn't even hear about Yakuza until Yakuza 0 came out.
Yeah, Yakuza 0 is a big thing. It is the #1 jumping point for the franchise because like the way that game starts is the most pulpy noir crime film like I've ever seen in a video game. Like you got the 3 bosses, Kuze, Awano, and Shibusawa, and they're staring at you, Kazuma Kiryu, a dude who was wrongly accused of a murder, and you're staring at them thinking, man, these guys are just gonna kill me if I look the wrong way. And that sense of atmosphere is so gripping and just beautiful. The way it imprints upon you is one of my favorite experiences on the PlayStation. It's also on Steam now if you want to get that. I would say
you can get it. You'll be able to get it on Xbox Game Pass in the next couple months.
Very nice.
The entire Yakuza series from, I think by March, every single Yakuza game is going to be on Game Pass.
They feel really good on
except for Like a Dragon because it's too new.
Right? Yeah, you got to buy that wholesale.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the mechanics in Yakuza 0 are kind of a bummer outside of the fighting, but the story is superb. Like figuring out how Kiryu gets his Dragon of Dojima nickname is really cool. Following Majima and seeing how he becomes the mad dog of Shimano and what he can do when he's not acting crazy and random. It's a really great prologue to that whole series that like the story in 0 is so good that it makes the games that come after it look bad. I would like to add it, but it's up to you.
I've never played it,
so I did not play a whole lot of it.
I think in that case it's probably best to take it off because if I feel like this should be more cumulative if only one person has played a game. So in that case, I'm gonna remove it.
Yeah, because like, would you put it in the same conversation as Bloodborne or Red Dead 2? Or New
Well,
Vegas?
I didn't play enough of Bloodborne really. I wouldn't put it in the same conversation as Red Dead. In that case, if I'm not picking Yakuza, then I will pick. All right, come back to me then. I think my whole preamble about Yakuza is going to be my turn.
Okay.
How much of Hades did we play?
I haven't played it.
40 hours.
I haven't. I haven't played it because I am hesitant to try roguelites.
Hades is definitely the most approachable roguelike kind of
Yes.
ever, honestly.
So I've
So-
heard, but yeah,
Just
I
because
didn't
they're-
have a very good experience. I mean, like I liked what I played, but in the end, I just got frustrated with fuck, what was that one popular roguelike that came out a couple years ago?
Splunky?
Dead Cells.
Oh.
Yeah, I got to the final boss like 3 different times and died, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. So anytime a new roguelike comes out, I just kind of been hesitant to try them.
Okay. I would definitely argue that you should try Hades.
Mm-hmm.
There are permanent upgrades you can make between runs that will make successive runs easier.
Ah, okay.
And also upgrades to weapons and new techniques and trinkets that will affect you passively throughout the run. Like, there's a lot, you get a lot of help between runs.
Mm-hmm.
There is kind of like purist speedrunner culture for that game of like how fast can you do it on a fresh save, etc.
Yeah.
The answer is really fucking fast, apparently. But
Yeah.
Just the way Hades has kind of taken the community by storm recently.
Mm-hmm.
All the different people who are playing it, all the different people who are speedrunning it, all the different parts of conversations it's in. It's a part of the crunch conversation. It's a part of like super giant games as a whole. The conversation like of them being really, really good and putting out nothing but bangers, like Bastion,
Transistor.
I think it's Slay the Spire, Transistor, and then Hades. Like,
No, it wasn't Slay the
not
it wasn't
Slay the
Slay the
Spire. It was Pyre. Yep.
Pyre. Yeah.
Slay the Pyre. That like everything about Hades is super, super polished. The voice acting in it is fantastic. The art is great. Like the gameplay is super, super smooth. The game was polished without crunching, which is just. I mean, I guess it should also be noted that like it's amazing that games come out at all. The amount of moving parts that have to be working together to put things out. But I think, and maybe this is just me wanting revenge for Hades losing some of the Game of the Year competitions against The Last of Us 2. This is all about Last of Us 2. But, I definitely want Hades to be in the toppest. And a little bit of this is like, what have you done for me lately? But I think Hades needs to be definitely conversation of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it needs to be a part of the conversation of the game of the decade.
I can see it. I can totally see it.
I just don't have much to say about it because I haven't played it. So
yeah,
it looks pretty.
There
cool.
is definitely a wall in like our like I want to say hour like 8 or 9 where it's like you're just going to start to get to the third world. And the third world, like I was watching some speedrunners play through it, and just like bad RNG in that world will kill an expert run. That of like that world specifically is like a lot of time is spent learning that world. That's all I'm gonna say.
Sure, absolutely.
So should we put a star next to it or what?
I think we can add it.
I'll trust your guys' judgment on it.
Also, outside of recording business, we've kind of been going for a while. How long do we want to go? It's 1:47.
Let's try to get 10.
Remember, we just keep on rolling.
I would like to iterate a title for the list, and I'm gonna argue for Smash Brothers because even if y'all haven't really played it that much, I think what they're doing nowadays regarding whatever Nintendo's terrible business decisions they've been making for the past decade, man, Smash is exactly what we've been looking for since we were kids, man. Like, they're adding characters into that game that we've been dreaming of. Like, Banjo-Kazooie, dude. like Sephiroth, bro. This game is getting crazy, and I think it's great that it exists at all.
If I own Smash Brothers, and I played it a lot when it first came out, and I really do enjoy it. I'm not good at it because it's a completely different type of fighting game that I'm used to.
Yeah,
but I do enjoy that there's just so many fucking characters to play, and each one actually feels different for the most part.
Yeah.
And I will say though, the character that they're gonna add, that they have to add for me to fucking go like, all right, well, it looks like I'm fucking playing this game again, is if they add fucking Crash to that game, I'm gonna fucking flip my shit.
Yeah, I want Crash too. I want that Wumpa bazooka, the dumbass belly
Yeah,
flop. Oh, it would be great.
Hey man, we have Minecraft Steve,
Yep,
Mario, Sephiroth, and Sonic in the same game.
and Pac-Man too.
Possible. We're gonna get
Pac-Man's throwing fire hydrants onto Sephiroth. It's beautiful.
We're gonna get Silver, and we're gonna get Shadow, and we're gonna get all these other weird characters. Biggs is gonna be in here at some point. Like Smash Bros is just the Wild West at this point. They should have done Ryu and Ken as a singular Street Fighter character, and
I agree.
had Ryu and Ken be different skins, because then we could have had Akuma in there. And
I totally agree.
Final Smash be the same thing numerically, and just change the flavor.
Yeah, he could do the Raging Demon and do the pose. It would be sick. Yeah, I think I think Smash Bros is on this list because it is.
I'm down to have it in there.
It's the shit that we've been dreaming of, man. It's finally fucking come true.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. All right. Who would be next then?
I believe Bryan.
God of War.
Ooh, we do have to have some sort of narratively driven game in here.
Yeah,
some action adventure game.
We need to have, like, in the conversation of Uncharted, Last of Us, God of War. My pick of those is God of War.
I'd agree with that.
I'm not okay. I will support you. My experience with God of War wasn't great for some reason. I didn't think the narrative was that solid, but like in terms of its like presentation and how Kratos, like his actor is really, really solid. I like the dynamic between him as a father and him having a son. That works great.
Mm-hmm.
The Leviathan axe mechanically works fantastic. I love the way that it like flies back into your hand with that force.
Oh, dude, it feels so good every time you do it.
Like his hand like kind of knocks back a bit as he's catching the axe. It is believable. It worked on me. Oh god, and the chains. The way he goes back, gets the chains. He's like, "You're never gonna change. You're just a monster." He's like, "I know." He's like crying. Oh, it's the best part of that game.
So sad.
It's
and it uses most of the original moveset from the original God of War games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's also some like really clever little puzzles where the game will put something slightly out of reach and like, oh, if I use the chains, I can reach that. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, God of War makes it, I think. One more game.
And it's my pick.
Is it? Hold on. Let's look at this list. Bloodborne was Bryan, right? Yeah. Skyrim was you, Ian, right?
Yeah.
Doom was me. Fallout New Vegas is Bryan. Red Dead 2 is all of us. Witcher 3 is you, Ian. Hades is Bryan. Smash Bros is me. God of War is Ian. Would it be me?
Oh, that's Bryan.
No. God of War is Bryan.
I'm sorry, I meant to say Bryan. But Doom.
Because mine were Elder Scrolls and Witcher.
Mine were
3?
God of War.
Well,
Hades,
Doom we had an asterisk next to.
Oh, Doom. Doom was okay.
I think I accidentally threw in an extra one.
Yeah, it's some.
I was God of War, Hades, New Vegas, Bloodborne. Yeah, I have.
Oh, you got a third one in there, or a fourth, I should say.
Oops.
Do we agree with God of War?
Is that 9 though?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 9 games on here.
Mm-hmm. And then I need to choose one more.
Yeah, I think God of War is probably the game.
Yeah,
on this list
I would say, and then Doom we had an asterisk next to, but so I don't know if we just decided to like just keep it.
Are you guys against it?
The only thing, because I'm gonna make an argument for my next game,
Okay.
and then I feel like there's another game on the list there that we could at least discuss to see if it like knocks something out. So
Sure.
we'll just go with mine, and then
Okay.
yeah. All right. So my next pick for me, I would have to argue Dark Souls.
Culturally
So-
super important, relevant.
Yeah, so I don't know how we feel about having two FromSoft games on here, but we do have two like Bethesda games. But I mean, granted, one's Bethesda Softworks, another is technically Obsidian.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but I don't know, man. I just think I don't know if you can really argue against Dark Souls. I'm not sure if you can.
No,
At least I
understand
can.
the merit.
It's a game. Obviously, there's Demon Souls before it, but Dark Souls is the one that obviously popularized it. And they are from the same team, obviously. But I don't know. Like, I can't really think of a game recently that's been like. Are there other games that have been like, all right, this is literally a brand new genre now? I don't know what the first roguelite was, but obviously Metroidvanias have been around forever. RPGs have been around forever. I mean, Dark Souls is an RPG, but it's its own like genre of RPG, and people call it Souls-like now.
Yeah,
and it's
like
literally
Neo
a genre.
is
And
copying that now.
Neo, Ashen, the
Hollow
Surge.
Knight, if you want to consider that.
Even like its lore is definitely, and not lore, but no, yeah, it's definitely like kind of like its mechanics are like inspired by Dark Souls. Wow, fuck, there's another there, and there's more. There's other ones I'm thinking of that
Code Vein.
Mortal Shell. There's that one that just came out this year.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It's taken. I feel like it's just like
what was that Norse one? Ashes of the Fallen.
Yeah, Ashes of the Fallen. There's that one. It's insane. I don't like a game from 2011 has spawned so many brand new fucking games with just like this new genre
like
that is
in
just
terms of
taken the world by
raw
storm over this whole fucking
cultural impact. I definitely think in a contest between Bloodborne and Dark Souls, game by itself in a bubble, Bloodborne.
Yes.
Larger cultural impact, Dark Souls every time.
okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, for me, I would argue I like Dark Souls. I like Dark Souls over Bloodborne. That's just my opinion, though. Like, I just like the setting of Dark Souls a lot more than Bloodborne.
No, you're good.
But Bloodborne is fucking still absolutely amazing.
Still fucking.
So we got 10 games right now.
I think if there's one that's got to go in this list of one of mine, I think Bloodborne's going to go if we want to keep Dark Souls, just because between the two of them.
I would rather have Bloodborne on this list than Dark Souls, if I'm being honest.
Well, but that
I'm also fine. I'm also fine with both of them staying.
Oh yeah, true.
But okay, so let's read off the 10 that we have right now.
Yes. Okay, we have Bloodborne, Skyrim, Doom, Fallout New Vegas, Red Dead Redemption 2, Witcher 3, Hades, Smash Bros. Ultimate, God of War, and Dark Souls.
All right. And then pretty good list. And then I would say
we could just keep these games, to be honest.
Yeah, so we could keep these, but then we could also we still have other games that we suggested beforehand. Yeah. So I would say if any game that we have in the other list that could possibly might knock out one of these games, maybe based on cultural impact or just how good the game is, the only two I can think of are, I would say, Super Mario Odyssey or Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild would have a chance of knocking out one of those 10 games.
I just haven't played enough of either one of those.
Oh, okay.
If I were to lean in any direction between either one, I would do Odyssey because I'm some sort of strange gremlin that doesn't like Zelda games for some reason.
Super Mario Odyssey is literally like a perfect game in my opinion. It's perfect. It's so good.
I like the way that Mario jumps. I can't figure out how to do the fucking. I can't figure out how to do the
I like the
hat
way
thing.
John Halo Chiefs.
I can't figure out how to do the thing where you like jump off a wall, throw the hat, it floats in midair, and you jump off that. And that's a problem because that's like integral to how most of the platforming works at a certain point.
Yeah, that was also something I couldn't figure out.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that for me personally, like Breath of the Wild would knock off some of the games that we have in our current 10 right now.
Yeah.
But this is a cumulative list, so
Yeah.
I would say I like Breath of the Wild more than Doom. But if we've all collectively played a lot more Doom than Legend of Zelda, then I would say Doom stays. You know?
Yeah, I would rather keep Doom in my. I think we keep what we got.
Yeah, we're good.
I think this is the part where we rank them.
Oh man. Oh no.
Let's get rid of these not topists here. And I guess we don't really need the rest, do we?
Guess not. No.
All right. Oh boy, here we go,
Took a
fellas.
long time to get here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if this recording.
We have to argue for them. We have to make decisions.
What was that, Brian?
We have to argue for them. We have to you must choose.
I think some of these are foregone conclusions, but yeah, there's going to be a little bit of arguing.
There's a lot of games we're not talking about in this conversation. Like we don't have a whole lot of. There's one in Hades, I think it's the only indie game. Everything else is big studio, big budget.
Let's see. Should we start off by saying what we personally think should be in the top 3?
Red Dead Redemption is definitely a top 3.
I think we all agree on that one.
Yeah. I'm so glad we're all on the same page of that game. Oh my god! Like,
yeah,
because there's some people who just do not like that game.
My fellow Americans, once again, I am listening to the house building song.
Get us on board and gut it. Yeah. If we're not huge into Doom, then I could probably make that at number 10. Does that sound about right?
Okay, so here's my thoughts on Doom. I think the music is fantastic. I think the shooting feels good, but I think most of its impact is novelty because a lot of people these days, a lot of non-boomers, a lot of zoomers and doomers, have never really touched arena shooters, and that's not for a good reason, but that's for a reason. Like arena shooters haven't really like max speed, no aiming, downsides, double jumps, projectile weapons. Like that fell out of fashion. Like Quake Champions, not really that popular at all.
Mm-mm.
Like I think making an arena shooter that feels good and it's accessible, I think is why Doom got super, super popular, right? Because it's like the way the music interacts with the gameplay, top notch, fantastic. Mick Gordon, that man blesses anything he touches, except for deadlines apparently. But like everything that Doom is doing works really, really well. But I think a lot of the impact is novelty in the fact that a lot of people, other games have done adaptive music, other games have done satisfying shooters, other games have done arena shooting. But not a whole lot of games have done all of those things at the same time in a way that, like, just that terrible momentum that you get when you're playing a Doom level and just chainsawing your way forward is something that you don't get to do in a whole lot of games.
And it doesn't force you to use the chainsaw either. You get to use the chainsaw whenever you want. You see that dude? Did he shoot you? He gets the chainsaw. You get a bunch of ammo back. I love the chainsaw.
Yeah, the gameplay loop is so goddamn satisfying. Just the way
and it's just so nice. It's like glory kills aren't literally just like, oh cool, let me like see you rip this guy's jaw off. It's like, no, it heals you.
Yeah, exactly.
And so there's a purpose behind it. There's a purpose behind using the chainsaw, and like in Doom Eternal, they fucking even
They
Those
call
sort they
all
added
that
to
stuff
it.
up.
They added to
Yeah.
more stuff like that, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, if you shoot a person that's on fire, you get fucking armor now and stuff. It's just like,
Yeah.
it forces you and wants you to like, use everything.
Yeah. It forces you to use the rest of the buffalo. Real fast. If I can put a pin in this conversation, I need to move my car. Can
okay.
we take like a 10-15 minute stretch water break?
Yeah, good idea. Oh, I think we're getting back into it here. What were we talking about for number 10?
I think we're talking about Doom.
Doom for number 10. Do we agree?
For right now, yes.
All right. Let's. And we can change it around as we go if I can type correctly.
Because the conversation about ranking gets weird because like the things that make Bloodborne great are different than the things that make Red Dead 2 great, right? They are good at different things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sure.
At this point, it all is just personal preference, I guess.
Yeah. If it's just personal preference, shit. I think Red Dead 2 might be number 1 for me.
Maybe, yeah.
I was trying to decide. I was like, is Red Dead or Dark Souls number 1 for me? That was like what was really hard for me to choose.
It's rolling around in my head for me for sure.
But but since it's a cumulative list, is it like, all right, well, if Brian's pretty set that it's number 1 for him, and I'm kind of like on the fence if it's this or that for me.
Well, that's when I come in and I present an opinion, and that mediates some of it. I'm under the impression that New Vegas is near the top.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I would say 3 or 4.
Oh. Where are you at with Red Dead, though?
Red Dead, it's either first or second.
Yeah, see, that's where I'm at.
Okay, let's put it in second just to be safe for right now. It might win. We'll see. Ninth.
Ninth, I would say, for me, I would throw in Smash Brothers for me.
Yeah,
what do you think, Brian?
From the perspective of someone who does not own a Switch and only plays Smash at other people's places, which means I haven't done it any time recently, I got to agree that it's in the lesser impacting game for me.
Smash.
Super important, super fun. Number 9 for me.
All right, I think. Yeah, it's fine. Smash is 9th then, I guess. 8th.
For me, when it comes to 8th, I would say Hades, but that's just me because I haven't played the game, but I know how much you guys like that game.
I would say Witcher is 8th.
See, for me, Witcher's up at like 3 or 4.
Oh, wow.
True.
Yeah.
I would put Hades near a 5 or a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's only so many other ones. Can we put Skyrim at 8?
I'm fine with that.
Because in that list, there are games that are kind of in their own category, right? Of just the culture around the game is so big and it's had so long to develop. Because that game came out 2011, so we've had 9 years to mod it, talk shit about it, make fun of it, and do the memes, do the jokes. We've had that long to fall in love with it. So, which we don't have for games like Hades, games like Ghost of Tsushima, games like Sekiro. We haven't had that long with it compared to some of these other games.
Yeah.
Compared to especially games like Mass Effect 2, right, or Dragon Age, Awakening. That just is in a different. It's almost a different class of game. Because I guess we could do like best recent game, past couple years, best older game, older than 5 years. Like there's lots of ways you can slice it up.
What about Dark Souls in number 8?
If Bloodborne can be number 7.
Do you want them to be right next to each other?
I just want Bloodborne to be above Dark Souls.
Oh, I mean, I agree. I think Bloodborne should be above Dark Souls.
This is we play.
Okay, I'll agree to that.
You are biased and dumb. I win. Bye bye.
No.
I'll agree to. I think I would agree to Bloodborne being above Dark Souls.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would be 8 and 7 because I would think this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
I love Dark Souls and Bloodborne more than God of War. I love it more than New Vegas. You know,
because I think we agree that Hades is important, but maybe not above some of these other games. So maybe Hades is 8.
I don't know.
Well, because it's like if we don't know how we feel, well then let's talk about that, right? Because like we agree that Red Dead is toward the top. Well, how do we feel about other like largely story-driven games in that category? Like, how do we feel about definitely less of an RPG, but like Fallout New Vegas or God of War, right? If Red Dead 2 isn't number 1, who is?
Yeah, you're right.
Because we can separate
it's okay, yeah. So
into games that are toward the top, games that are toward the bottom, and then we can mess around with rankings. But it's like because it's like if Red Dead's not at the top, who beats it?
That's true.
If
it's something
Doom
we all
isn't
agree
last,
with.
what game is also toward the bottom of that? That I think like Bloodborne, Dark Souls, it's not contentious, but it's like you're gonna love one or you're gonna love the other one. I think. Like we were talking about with Gurren Lagann versus Kill la Kill. You're just gonna like the one that worked on you more the first time through it.
Yeah.
Because it's like I imagine it might be similar in the Elder Scrolls Fallout conversation of like, are you more of an Elder Scrolls guy or a Fallout guy? I'm definitely more of a Fallout guy. But but when I say Fallout, I mean Fallout New Vegas. I don't mean 476 or 3. And when I say Elder Scrolls, I'm probably talking about, Morrowind or Oblivion, not talking about 5 or the Elder Scrolls Online. Or the JPEG so far that is 6.
The JPEG.
Yeah. It's a great JPEG. It's going to blow you away.
But that's like announcing Overwatch 2. Here's some concept art.
Too much of that recently. Okay. So, Ian, you said you like Bloodborne more than God of War. Is that right?
Well, when it comes to I agree Bloodborne should be above Dark Souls, but this is just my opinion. I fucking love Soulsborne games.
Yeah.
I just like I like those games more than God of War. That's just my opinion though. But if you guys feel like God of War should be above that overtakes like 2-1, so then it should probably just be a bit more higher than those two.
Yeah, because I think I'm the one who's really championing God of War to be toward the top of the table.
Okay.
In a way that I think you guys don't jive with.
I
understand.
I'm around the opinion that God of War is at most 4, but probably 5th is where I see that. Actually,
that's fine and fair.
No, yeah, that's about right, considering the other games. I would put Witcher here, but I just really haven't played Witcher in 8th.
All right, so much like how you'll just take our word for The Witcher 3 being higher up, I'll take your word for Hades being higher up as well.
Hades is fantastic, yes.
So we can put Dark Souls and Bloodborne on 8 and 7. Or we could put like Fallout New Vegas before Dark Souls or Fallout New Vegas after those two games. So I do feel like Dark Souls and Bloodborne are next to each other, but I just don't know if we should agree on if Fallout New Vegas is before it or after it.
I think Fallout New Vegas is near the top. So are we okay with Dark Souls at 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Bloodborne at 7.
Bloodborne at 7, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Bloodborne. 6. What have we got left?
Still got to put Hades on here.
Still got to put Hades on here.
Yeah, but so I was thinking, all right, so should New Vegas go here, or New Vegas or Elder Scrolls 5? Probably Skyrim, right?
I would put Skyrim here. I would put Hades above Skyrim, to be honest.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And then New
basically,
Vegas
it's
would
like,
be after Skyrim.
Which one do we rank above? Yeah, it's like, is it New Vegas versus Skyrim, or is it Skyrim over New Vegas? Personally,
It's New
over
Vegas for you,
Skyrim,
yeah.
like-
And I've
like
I've replayed New Vegas more than I have Skyrim. That's probably more just the case that Skyrim, I feel like I get myself more lost in, whereas New Vegas, I can like actually like I look forward to playing through the main quest in that game. Whereas Skyrim, because Skyrim's main quest is like kind of meh.
Yeah,
But
Skyrim's main quest is the definition of man, but that's not what you
yeah,
play. That's not
that's
what you
not
play.
yeah, it's not why you
Yeah,
play
the
Skyrim.
point
yeah.
of the Bethesda game is more the open world aspect than
Is
it's
the world and
main
everything
story.
in it. Not
Yeah. I'm down with
'Cause-
Skyrim at 5. I mean at 6, and then New Vegas at 5. That's what I'm down with.
Yeah.
If you guys agree on that.
I agree with that.
Okay. Oh,
Skyrim. And then New Vegas.
what do we got left? Hades, God of War, Witcher 3, I think is
And
what we have.
3. Yeah.
If I were to put these in a list, this is my personal. We could probably go like, all right, I'd put this at 4, this at 3, this at 2.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would put, obviously for me, Hades at 4 because I haven't played it, but I'm just taking your guys' word on its excellence.
Yeah.
And then God of War at 3 and Witcher at 2.
You know what? I actually agree with that ranking.
Damn. You guys are that
All right.
keen on The Witcher?
What do you?
Yeah,
Yes.
dude, it's great. It's yeah, I don't know, man. You just have to play it it starts off a little slow, but
Yeah.
like
and there's a lot of context that you might be missing because there's a lot of characters who only show up in the books, but then make their way into the last game, or there are characters from the first 2 games that show up in the third game that can like lend a lot of narrative weight if they're there, but if they're not there, in that kind of like butterfly effect, fucking Until Dawn, Mass Effect way, that like until you know what you're missing, the weight of some of these scenarios, the way some of the quest changes, like the way the theming and atmosphere changes, you just don't really get that unless you've played the first 2 games. And that's hard to chew through all of.
Okay.
There are choices in that game that are like fuck, like you don't know like what to do.
Yeah.
Because you just get put into such like shitty situations where you have to make like a split second decision onto like what to do.
I'm gonna compare it to Fallout 2 and Fallout New Vegas and 3.
Mhm.
And I guess 5. You know how in Fallout, if you have high enough whatever, guns or strength or intelligence, you have different dialogue options.
Yeah.
In Fallout 2 and in The Witcher, it doesn't tell you that that's a unlockable, that you've unlocked that by having this, that, or the other. It doesn't tell you that. So because it's like for in 3, 4, and 5, taking that it's always good. It'll always get you extra stuff. But in 2 and in The Witcher, those aren't necessarily always positive.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing extra stuff or having extra equipment or all of that stuff, you there's no guarantee that that's always going to be positive, always going to advance it, always going to get you what you want. And that takes a little bit of the game out of the conversations in a way that I think is good and constructive, because it's like, okay, what would you say? Not, the outcome. You're not you're just role playing.
You cut out a little bit there at the end.
Is that you're not playing the math, you're just role playing. And as much as I think it has a lot of RPG elements, The Witcher 3 I think is a very good Geralt simulator. You can play around with a little bit of how Geralt expresses himself, but who Geralt is pretty set in stone.
Yeah.
But in that, I think you have a lot of room to play around with that expression, and you do make meaningful choices that affect the story. And as much as that's a joke now, that there are games that fucking walk the walk. And I think Witcher 3 is just one of them. So that's my case for Witcher 3 from a purely narrative standpoint.
Okay. Then I believe I can work with that. Let's see. We got Hades at number 4.
Yeah. God of War.
God of War number 3. And The Witcher Wild 3. Wait. Yes. The Witcher 3
Wild 3.
Hunt. Wild 3 Witch Hunt. The Witcher 3
The
Wild
Witcher
Hunt.
3
Okay.
Get Out of Hell.
Can I propose something? Can we switch?
The Wild 3. Witcher
The-
Wild.
Can we
The
switch
Witcher,
Smash and Dark Souls?
Horizon Zero Witcher. Smash and Dark Souls. Okay, so like I have more exposure to Dark Souls than Smash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like what I played. If I leave my own experience, absolutely Smash is probably more important. Maybe recently doing the whole Rona, everybody's starving for games to play together. Smash is probably solid.
Mm-hmm.
But inside of my own experience, Dark Souls is just more impactful upon my tiny game life.
Okay.
Same goes for me as well. I mean, Dark Souls is more impactful for me. But I mean, like I can't. But I mean, like both of them have such great cultural impact, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not like
do.
It's not like Dark Souls is just very contained, very good game. It's like they both have very like crazy cultural impact. But in terms of like I would say more farther reaching impact, I guess you could say Smash has more maybe.
I feel like one of the only things that I look forward to, other than getting that money, making that paper, is like who's the next Smash character? Who are they gonna announce next? That's one of the things in games that I look forward to most. Is like
Yeah, I love watching people's reactions. Like I remember like, oh, there's a new Smash character coming out for at the Game Awards, and everyone was like, oh, what's it gonna be? And no one expected it to be Sephiroth. And there's also
Nintendo has been they've been making some really good picks where it's like Joker for Persona 5.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that? It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's probably fine to leave the list as is. If y'all are good with it.
I am happy with that. Damn, it took a while to get here. 3 hours?
Yeah, what are we sitting at here? Yeah, just about 3 hours. 2 hours and 56 minutes. I thought this was going to take an hour. I was wrong.
I think there were probably some ways we could clean up the format, like everyone coming in. Well, first of all, me coming in with an actual let's talk about that, me. But like coming in with 10 games, and it's like try to keep it one per category or one per franchise or one per dev, and try to spread them out through the decade.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think part of it was just organizing. Okay, how are we thinking of the games? How are we sorting them, right? And what's the criteria we're really judging them by? But because a lot of the games we talked about, like we talked about League of Legends to explain the controversy. We talked about Mass Effect to kind of give a little bit of color to the nostalgia around the game, like that kind of stuff. That's all a part of this conversation. That's all a part of our ranking why we feel the way that we do about certain games. So it's like the conversation just takes a while, and we've been playing games for a really long time. So it's like, and we're all super familiar with each other. So it's like the conversation is just going to be really wide, really deep.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of games we didn't talk about.
Yeah, they were just in the interest of time, really.
Taking as much time as we did. Like we didn't talk about any Pokemon games. We didn't talk about any we didn't talk about like games like Destiny. We didn't talk about a whole lot of MMO. Well, we talked about some MMOs, but how come we didn't put any FIFA games on this list?
Because if you want to go play soccer, you can just go outside and play some soccer. There's a difference between Rocket League and FIFA. I'll just say that much.
Real quick, wrench. Should Diablo 3 be on this list?
No. I don't think I see it.
That feels like not a yes, and not a yes means no.
I'm not seeing it. I don't think it's better than Doom. I'll put it that way.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I think we got our 10 games, lads.
Yeah. that was
I'll
fun.
read them off. We have Doom at number 10, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at number 9, Dark Souls at number 8,
Hang on, are we
Bloodborne
talking
at
Dark Souls
number
Vanilla or
7.
Dark Souls Remastered?
I don't know.
I don't think it matters.
No, it really doesn't.
Elder Scrolls
Trying to see if I can ride that,
5, Skyrim at number 6, Fallout New Vegas at number 5, Hades at number 4, God of War, Dad of War at number 3,
Dad of boy.
yeah, same thing. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt at number 2, and at number 1, looking at the sunset before it goes down, number 1 is
Ugh.
Red Dead Redemption 2. He
You
was
need
a
to give me
rat.
that imagery.
He
Yeah.
was a rat. bitch.
Watching the sunset. The was it the sunset or the sunrise when you're?
It's a sunrise. You're right.
Yeah.
Sunrise.
It's the sunrise and the good ending, with Max Honor. That was like, holy shit! When Arthur puts his hat on John's head and puts his satchel over John's shoulders, and he says, just like, "Get out of here, man!" And he pulls his gun out, and he, stands on a hill and fucking snipes Pinkertons with a goddamn cattleman revolver.
May I
So good.
stand
Yeah.
unshaken. Yeah, that song. Like the songs in Red Dead are so good, man. Oh my god.
I almost
Yeah.
bought the soundtrack on vinyl. It's like in my like wish list on Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But, like, Red Dead is just
It's-
so good, and it's not a house building song.
According to us, it's the game of the
Lumbago.
decade, fellas.
Yeah.
Man, I think that's gonna conclude it for this podcast.
And
Thanks
once
for-
again, I'd like to remind the members of the audience, this is not an exhaustive list, and this is based entirely off of our own predilections and opinions. But if you feel like we missed something, take it to the comments. Put us on blast. Hey, you guys didn't talk about this game, but in that breath, talk about why we should have. Don't just, hey, you guys didn't mention bug snacks. You have to like make an argument. Don't just fucking yell from the bleachers.
I am planning on getting a email address so people can write in questions
nice.
and we can answer those questions.
Hell yeah.
Let's do it.
Also, I think it's worth mentioning. Technically, yes, the decade was 2010 to 2019, but because that's 10 years.
I like rounding it out.
Yeah,
2010 to 2020.
Yeah, so we kind of like rounded it out a little bit. Also, doing this would be kind of like a good like introduction as to like what we are as gamers and like what games we like to play.
Oh yeah.
So that's why we decided to do this first, and we're like, whatever, it's just 1 year. So
and we like more games than this too, so you'll know about that as well.
I think 2020 was a bad enough year that I think we can just write it off, right? I think
right.
We get a do-over.
I think it's just 2019 too. It's DLC for 2019.
Oh, it costs $5, I think. Shit. God damn it, EA. Well, I think it's about it then. Thanks for joining us on this Games of the Decade recording podcast. We'll catch you later with the games of the year.
I hope it's not actually 3 hours for you guys.
I'll sniff it around. Anyway.
Alrighty.
Let Ryan work his magic. You guys have
goodbye, everybody.